to the chat box, and I'll definitely answer all your questions at the end of the session. Okay, just to quickly give you my background, ma'am already mentioned, Dr. Mansi also mentioned that I've done my bachelor's, master's, and also my executive pharma MBA, working currently with Abbott. Past experience with Pfizer, one of the multinationals who has prepared the COVID-19 vaccine. BMS is also an American company. All PNG is also an American company. Covance and IQVIA both are American companies. They are CROs. Total years of experience, 13 in India itself. I love reading business and technology articles and non-fictional novels and playing table tennis. And currently a lifetime member of BCP Alumni Group and the Indian Society for Clinical Research. So just a quick icebreaker. I mean, this is a slide where we have total 11 brands on this slide, and I want you to do is that I believe there are more than 40 students in the Google Meet today. If you know the names of these brands, if you could just unmute yourself and if you can tell me the brands that you see on the screen, if you can do that. I mean, I'll quickly get an idea whether you really know these brands. I mean, these are the brands which we use on a day-to-day basis. You see these ads on the TV, you hear about them on the radio, or you see their ads on YouTube, or on Amazon or Flipkart. So if you could quickly unmute yourself and tell me which brands are these. There are total 11 brands on the slide.
Yeah, so
Just introduce yourself, just quickly tell your name and tell the brands.
yeah, hi, this is Amir Rao.
Yes,
So
Amir.
I know like few of them. So one is
Sure, sure.
Volini.
Great.
Yeah, one is Volini. Second
Fantastic.
is Jadubam.
Fantastic.
Then Amrutanjan.
Great.
Then Iodex.
Very
Then
good.
Dettol.
Very
Then
nice.
Pediasure, I believe.
Yes, yes,
Yes.
absolutely right.
Yeah, and then that mouthwash, I don't remember.
Yes, Listerine, absolutely right.
Yeah.
This one, the green one, lemon flavor.
That's Eno.
Absolutely right. Absolutely right. This one, I'll give you a clue.
Revital.
Salman Khan does an advertisement.
Revital.
Absolutely right. This one, the orange one.
ORS.
It's
Uh,
Stops.
it is. I'll give you a clue.
Capsules.
Absolutely right. And the last one, the
Pediatric.
clue is the Hindi instructions.
Fast relief.
It is for diarrhea. Our grandmothers used to use
Turan.
it.
Isabul.
Absolutely right. Fantastic. So you all got all the brand name right. Now you can mute yourself. Fantastic, fantastic. So the reason I did this icebreaker with you is, when even you couldn't see the complete picture of all these brands, you could still remember their names. You could still remember which brands they were. Why you remember them? See, there are three reasons. These brands have been there. They have created a legacy. These have been there for like years in the market. They have created a perception in your mind that something Amrutanjan is used for, like as a fever relief. Zandu balm is used, something for a pain relief. You use Volini again for pain relief. You use Dettol on a day-to-day basis as an antiseptic. You use Revital for energy, Eno for again for acidity, Listerine as a mouthwash. So you remember these brands by the qualities that they possess. These brands have been there in the industry for a long time, and they have created a perception in your mind, right? So even without looking at their complete names or complete packages, you could still remember them. So you know what I want you to take from this slide is that you all are a brand. We all are a brand. Even Nina Chatham is a brand. You all, Asif Sheikh, everybody who's there in the call, you all are a brand. So remember that you need to create your brand identity. See, when you go on Amazon, you go on Flipkart, you go on Nykaa, Myntra, Jabong, Tata Click, any website, you look for the features, right? So when you're applying for a job, so you need to create a good CV. So your good CV would be your features. All these brands have good features, right? And they also have experience. People have used them for a long time. So when you have your experience in different companies, that also speaks for yourself, right? So the people with whom you have worked in the company, they will give you recommendation, they will give you references, and that will gonna speak for you. So they're gonna speak about you, and they'll spread that, by word of mouth, about this brand is good, this person is good, he has done his good job in this particular role. So what I want you to understand is you are also a brand. So create your brand identity. understand what kind of problem that you're going to solve in the industry, or what kind of problem that you're going to solve in the company that you plan to join. Understand their problems, understand your manager's problem, understand what issues they are facing, and once you solve them, yes, I can assure you that you will definitely succeed in your career. So remember that you all are brands, and you need to create your brand identity, be it in any field. Do not compare yourself with your peers, do not compare yourself with your juniors or with your seniors, or do not compare yourself with your friends who are in different industries, be it engineering, medical, or be it commerce, or be it finance, or be it anything, entertainment or creative industry. Do not compare yourself with them. You are at your best place. You are unique, so you need to create your own brand identity. Okay, so remember that. Then with that, this slide, I want you to understand how exactly a company works in any industry. Okay, in any industry, this is a standard structure of any company, be it in maritime, or be it in a finance company, be it any online company, be it Nika, Amazon, Flipkart. Everything looks the same. Okay, so just understand how the company looks like. When you join a company as an intern or a trainee, you will be at the bottom of the flow chart, bottom of the pyramid. You will be employees. Okay, remember that. You will start your career as an employee. Then over a period of 2 years or 3 years or 5 years, you become managers, you become senior managers. That is when you spend enough time in that particular company, in that particular role. If you become a specialist, you become a individual contributor. Okay, so remember, there are two types of roles in pharma, in any companies. It's IC, individual contributor, and it's a people manager. PM, it's a people manager. IC would be individual contributor. So once you have grown in your role, or in your in a company or in your organization for like sufficient period of time, be it 2 years or be it 5 years, you will become a manager or you'll become a senior manager. After that, if you spend like around 10 years, 15 years in the same company or in a different company, but in a particular role or in a particular department or a particular division, you become an associate director, director, vice president. So you will be vice president for finance, you'll be vice president for production, manufacturing, marketing, you will be vice president for operations, there will be supply chain, there will be somebody who's making your ships, somebody who's supplying the parts, somebody who's supplying the human resource. So you will become operation heads. Then there'll be marketing. So then you will become associate director, director, and vice presidents, and above that would be presidents, and would be the managing director or the CEO of the company. Okay, and that person, the managing director, would be having a secretary. He can be an executive assistant, or there can be a company secretary who's also handling the finances of the company. There'll be a treasurer who's like the CFO, the chief finance officer, who's maintaining the budgets and the balance sheet of the company. There'll be also lawyers in the company who will be supporting the managing director. Above this managing director would be board of directors. These will be directors who might be independent of the company. Okay, so for example, let's say there is a pharma company, Pfizer is a pharma company in India, and there will be board of directors who will be like Kiran Mazumdar Shaw, who's an independent director, who's from from Biocon. So she might be on the board of Pfizer's executive board. So these are the board of directors who are independent, and this also remains the same across any industry. So understand that. And above these board of directors are stockholders, shareholders. You can also be a shareholder if you're doing trading on Zerodha. You are having a demat account. If you are doing buying shares, then you are the shareholders of the company. Remember that. And this is the standard typical corporate hierarchy across all companies, all organizations, be it any company and be it any industry. This will remain the same, more or less remain the same. There'll be multiple grades, there'll be multiple levels in these levels, in between these roles, but more or less it will remain standard. So just understand this when you're applying to any company in India or any company outside India, be it Middle East, Europe, UK, or US, Canada, Australia. This will remain the same. Okay, so understand this point. So with that background of how exactly a corporate hierarchy looks, let us look at agenda for our today's session. We will look at different career options after maritime studies. Which are the options that we have? We will look at now. Once we have looked at which are the options, we will look at how to write a good CV. Once we have written a good CV, we are ready with a good CV. We will look at how we will apply for a job, how we will do our job search, and how we will go on understanding how we can get a particular job. So job search is also very important, because that's like 100%. Doing a job search itself is like a proper job. So you need to understand you're going to spend your 8 to 10 hours to 14 hours, 16 hours just doing a job search. So that activity is also very important. Then we will be looking at interview techniques. Once you have done your job search, then you will be appearing for interviews, because once you have started applying and you're getting your calls for interviews, we will also look at how are the different interviews scheduled, how exactly we need to navigate and communicate during these interviews. So we'll look at the interview techniques, and after the interview techniques we'll also speak about communication skills, how we need to communicate, how we need to express ourselves during the interview, after the interview, how you need to send out an email, to an HR person, how you need to send out an email to your line manager in your company, how you need to send out an email once you've joined the company, how exactly you need to draft a good email. So we'll look at that as well. And after that, I'll also give you a brief idea about what are the joining formalities. Let's say you have created a good CV, you applied for your interview, you got your job, and now you've already started working. Now, before you start working in that particular company, understand what are the joining formalities and what all you need to remember when you go for your day one in your company, and what is the next, how you need to spend your next 3 months, 6 months, 1 year, 2 years in that particular company. So I'll give you that background as well. So with that, let us move to the career options in maritime. So please be, absolutely, I'm not an expert in maritime. What I've done is I've tried searching for more options using Google, but these might be, I'm not very sure whether these are the current options or whether these are not the current options. But this is what I could find on Google. In case of a maritime, and if you graduate using your maritime studies, you can have multiple positions in these kind of positions which are available in the maritime industry in different companies. And these are the different recruiters which I could find online. And these might not be the updated ones. There might be many other companies, and you can definitely go and search on multiple job portals and job websites. But overall, what I could see, there are multiple levels and multiple options, career options that you have in maritime studies. And feel free to apply to these levels. If you feel that you want to be a deck officer or a deck cadet, or you want to become a chief engineer someday, then yes, feel free to go and apply to those jobs. And there are different multiple companies which I could find online, and the different recruiters which I saw online, which where you can apply for your maritime roles. So there, this list might be very limited, and there might be many other companies. So feel free to explore, feel free to go online, feel free to speak to your alumni, feel free to speak to your to your friends, to your colleagues who have been already working in that particular industry. So you will get to know about which are the different career options, where you can also do a lateral move, not just in maritime, you can also move to some other industry. So you can do your own research, so spend some time on that, understand which are the career options once you graduate, what all skills that you require, what is the experience that you require to apply for that particular role. So understand that, do your own research, understand which are the companies in your domain, in your industry, which are the companies who have been there for the last 100 years, which are the companies which have been there for the last 50 years, 10 years, 20 years, which is like a new startup which has come up in your industry. So understand that, do your own research, and you will definitely find some good companies where you can apply. Okay, so there are different career options, but yes, these are very limited, but you can definitely do more research on Google. So now that you have looked at which are the career options in maritime, let us look at the main agenda for today, that how to write a good CV and how to do your job search. Okay. So now that you want to write your CV, remember that your CV should be a simple two-page document. It can be more pages, but try and make it a single page or a max to max two-page. Do not go more than two pages in the beginning, because see, once you're applying for an internship role, or for an intern role or a management trainee, or like a, as a business analyst or an associate or a starting role where, like a fresher role in any company, your CV might not have, that kind of experience in the beginning. So keep it short, keep it a single page CV, or maybe keep it as a two-page CV in the beginning. Okay. Now remember that when you're writing your CV, ensure that you mention your name at the top of your CV. You need not mention the full form, like curriculum vitae or CV. You need not mention that. You just need to mention your name. So the name should be Ninad Chatham would be on the top. Then your address, your residential address should be in the header section. Remember to put that address. Why it is important is because if the position is in Mumbai, the company is in Mumbai, the role is in Mumbai, and if you're staying in Mumbai, they will consider you. If the company, the role is in Bangalore, the role is in Hyderabad, if the company is based out of Hyderabad, Bangalore, Delhi, Kolkata, then remember, if your residential address is Mumbai, then they will not consider you for that particular role. They will again ask you whether you are willing to relocate. So always mention your address in the header section, your complete residential address. Also mention your email id. Your email id should be a professional email id. It can be ninad.chatham@gmail.com. It should not be ninad something rocks, or not, it should not be something like that. It should be a plain simple ninad.satam@gmail.com. Email id should be professional. It should also make a, they should remember your email id because it should be a simple email id. It should not be like a complicated ninad17037891, nothing like that. Make it simple, ninad.chatham@gmail.com. Okay, make it simple. Then mention your contact details. Your mobile number is very important in the header section of your CV, because the HR person is going to look at your contact details just for a fraction of seconds. He will look at quickly at your address, he will look at your email id, he or she will look at your contact details. So mention your mobile number in the header section. Okay, do not mention your landline number, because if your mobile number is not reachable, the HR person might call you on the landline number, and if you're not available on the landline number, that will be a bigger issue. So ensure that you mention your mobile number, and if you already have a true caller installed, you will know that you're getting calls from an HR person, okay, or a recruiter, or a pharma, or a consultant. You will remember that. So always mention everything on the header. So your name should come in the middle, address or on your left or on the right side of the header. Then you have your email id and your mobile number. So remember to use them. Why I'm suggesting this should be in the header or in the first page, or on the first page of your CV is, see, the HR of any company, any organization will have, they will run their own algorithms. Okay, their systems will have own algorithms, where if your CV does not have these mentioned on the first page, then our probability of CV not getting shortlisted is very high. If you have all these mentioned on your first page of your CV, probability of CV getting shortlisted for at least looking at, so that the HR shortlists you for your next round of the first round of interview, is very high. So ensure that you have everything on your first page of your CV. Mention your skills and capabilities. Okay, it's okay to mention an objective. However, it is not mandatory to mention an objective, as in what you want to do. Like Ninad wants to become like a director in the future, but yes, they know that is, I would definitely would love to become a director when I'm, after 5 years down the lane. But it's not be very specific in the objective. You can mention your skills, what I've done. I'm good at communication, I'm good at presentation, I'm good at analytical skills, I'm good with finance skills, I'm good with budgeting skills. So mention your skills there. Capabilities, what you have learned so far. If you have learned about anything from your industry, you have done your courses, you have done your, some certificate courses, what you have learned from those courses, mention that as your capabilities. As in, you can solve, or you have knowledge of some computer language, Microsoft Excel, your Word, PowerPoint. So mention your capabilities, what are you good at. So mention that on your first page. Mention your education. Okay, it should be a reverse chronology. Reverse in the sense, the latest one should be on the top, as in your graduation should be on the top. That should be your first one. Second would be your HSC, higher secondary certificate. HSC should be your next. SSC, the SSC or CBSE or ICSE should be at the bottom. Okay, so your latest education should come on the top, and the rest should be, you should follow in a reverse chronology. So the latest should be on the top. Experience is very important. If you have done anything, like a smallest internship for like a month, you're doing an internship for 2 months, or even if you have done an internship for 3 months, 6 months, wherever you have done it, be it a full time, be it part time, you have done it on weekends, you have done it during the weekday, on an evening, you have worked in a shop, you have worked anywhere. Mention your experience clearly. You have participated in a conference, participated in a seminar, you have worked for a small company or a startup. Anything that you have done which is positive and will help you during your application, mention your experience in your CV. So that is very important. Mention all your achievements and awards. Okay, remember that these achievements and awards should make your CV valuable. It should not be that you participated in a cricket competition, or in a table tennis or a drawing competition, you won there. That is fine, those are more like an hobby. But achievement should be, you presented at a conference, you presented a poster. Award should be like, you got an award for your outstanding performance in your, in your graduation degree, or you got an award for presenting something in your college, you got an award in a debate competition. So something which is valuable, which will add value to your CV. Okay, so these are the points which are very, very important for your CV. Okay, so this is very important. So let me quickly take a pause here, and if you have any questions, feel free to unmute yourself and feel free to ask. I mean, feel free to ask English, Hindi, Marathi, it's absolutely fine. If you have any questions, or feel free to write down your questions in the chat box. We can take it at the end of the session as well. That's absolutely fine. So I'll pause for a second and let me know if you have any questions.
Students, if you have any questions, please pose it to Ninad. It will be good interaction.
Okay, I no issues, Dr. Mansi. So maybe I'll take all those questions at the end. That's absolutely fine. Let us quickly move to our next slide. Now that you have written your CV and you know how to write a good CV, let us look
Ninad,
at.
one question has come
Oh, great,
in the chat
in the
box.
chat
great,
box.
fantastic. Yeah,
Nancy, can you read it?
Yes, ma'am. Yeah. If a student is asking, here's Aisha Khalifa, he's asking if they don't have any experience in any sector, what should they write? They have that question. They're just
okay,
fresher. They don't have any experience.
understood, understood. So if you do not have any experience, which I agree, as a fresher, you won't have anything. So the experience can be anything that you have done in your college days. Okay, if you have represented your college for something, if you have represented a college or you be it intra college competitions, be it inter college competition, there was a debate or there was some kind of a competition which is valuable, which will be important for the company where you are applying for, then that experience also will count. But it should be something which is valuable, which the company feels that okay, he or when let's say Nina Chatham is a fresher, he just completed maritime studies. So my company where I'm applying, if they see my CV where I've participated in some good competitions in the college, if I've done something which where there are some sessions which were conducted, I volunteered for that, I was a representative for that, I was a leader in particular competition, I led a particular activity, I volunteered for something in the college, I volunteered for something during my 3 year studies, I did like an internship for a month or two during my summer vacations, I helped someone, I volunteered for something. Anything that you did in your last 3 years or 4 years of your study, mention that as your experience. That is absolutely fine, since even the company understands that you are a fresher and you do not have like proper work experience. So they understand that, so don't worry. Even if you don't have like proper professional experience, at least mention something which is valuable to the company, which brings value to the company, which they see that if he or she is hired, he or she will help our company to solve problems, he or she will be there to understand what our company's problems are, challenges are, and he or she will definitely help us to reduce the cost, reduce the resources, reduce the turnaround time, how you can help the company to to progress, how you can help the company to make more profits. All that the company is seeing is that how this person is going to help me create a better business. So remember that. So see, company is not a living entity. The people who are working in the company, they are a living entity. So you need to impress the person who's going to be there in the interview, and we will talk more about it during the interview technique slides. So remember, any experience which the company feels will add value to their company, mention it in your experience, and they will understand that you're a fresher, and hence you do not have a valid professional experience. So that's absolutely fine. So I hope I answered that question, but we can take it, we can describe it more at the end of the session as well. So any other questions, Dr. Mansi, in the chat box, because I cannot see it from here,
No, there is
from
no
the.
question in the chat box right now. We'll
Fantastic.
take up
Okay.
at the end of the session.
Sure, sure, sure. Thank you so much, Dr. Mansi. So with that, so now that we have written a good CV, we know that we have written a good CV. We want to start applying for our jobs. So how we can apply for jobs? Okay. So first is contact your friends who are already working in the maritime industry. Contact your relatives if you know somebody like your close relatives or your like distant relatives who are already working in the maritime industry. Contact them, ask them what are the career prospects, which are the companies in India, which are the companies in Middle East, which are the companies in Europe, or even in America, North America, in Latin America, be it Asia Pacific, be it Hong Kong, Singapore, be it any other country. Understand how this industry works. Understand what are the job requirements. Understand which are the positions. Understand the salary requirements. Understand how you progress in that particular company or in that particular industry. So speak to them. Try and understand. Do more research about how your industry works. Okay, unless you do that, you won't be able to express yourself in the interview unless you know about the industry, unless you know about the company, unless you know about the job that you're applying. You won't be able to express and convince the interviewer during your interview session. So try and contact your friends from the industry. Now contact your alumni. See, Mumbai University is so huge. There might be so many students who have graduated. Speak to Dr. Mansi, speak to Dr. Muzumdar ma'am. Get to speak to your alumni, speak to them, get their email ID, get their phone numbers, try and contact them on LinkedIn. See, they might be definitely be on LinkedIn. They might be there on some other forums where they are working. If they must be working with some other company which you might be aspiring to apply for, right? So go and speak to your alumni, go and speak to your maritime alumni, go and speak to all your alumni from even different institutes. It need not be just Mumbai University. It can be a maritime student from from Hyderabad, from Bangalore, from Cochin, or from any other institute in India. Speak to them. See, they are definitely there on LinkedIn. They might be there on some other platforms. Contact them, connect with them, network. As you increase your networking, more people know you, more people will remember that you are looking for a job. So that will make your job easier. Okay, for applying for a job, ensure that as many people know that you are looking for a job. So contact them, contact your alumni, and you will definitely get some openings. You'll definitely get the probability of you getting a posting or you getting an opening. You'll to know about a opening in a company, to know about an opening in any organization in maritime industry, you will know from them, from your alumni, from your friends, or from your relatives. There is LinkedIn job search. There are job portals like Naukri, Shine, Indeed. There is Monster. There are multiple job portals where you go and apply. But remember that you need to keep on these two portals, on LinkedIn and on Naukri, Shine, Indeed, Monster. Ensure that you update your profile correctly. Okay, all the information that you are entering in these two webs on these two websites, your profile should be up to date. Your profile should be honest. Your profile should be having the right kind of information, the correct information. Okay, it should be the one that you have actually, as in the experience that you put on these websites should be real experiences. The company should be able to relate to the experiences that you have done. Okay, so be very honest when you're updating your profiles on LinkedIn or Naukri.com. The reason why I'm saying this, like if you plan to put something which you have not worked on, it's very easy for the interviewer to immediately pick up that you have not done that. Okay, you might try explaining that, but the person who's interviewing you might be there in the industry for 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, or 20 years. So he or she might immediately get to know that you have not done that. Okay, so remember, be very honest when you're creating your profiles on LinkedIn or Naukri or any other job portals. Okay, and there are different job openings which are posted on LinkedIn jobs. There is a LinkedIn job app as well. Naukri app is also there. There are multiple apps for searching for your jobs, and also for searching for there might be other app maritime industry as well. So look for it and definitely apply on those job portals. You definitely end up on a good role. Okay, there are career consultants. There are career consultants like consultants. There is Michael Page. There is Antal International. There are different career consultants who also recruit at the startup at the entry level, who also recruit at an executive level. But what they do is they will share your CV with the companies. So once the company hires you, they will definitely charge the company which hired you, like for some commission money, and there's some minimum amount which they take, as as a the one who has ensure that they get, as in the company gets good candidates. So they will charge the company for providing them with the CVs of good candidates. And when the candidate gets recruited, they will charge the company a nominal fee or like a commission from that particular company. So these are also there. So search for these career consultants on LinkedIn or with different websites. You will definitely find them. So these might be in your maritime industry as well. So search for these career consultants who can help you with getting a proper job or getting the right job that you're looking for. Then there are paid recruiters. Okay, so these are the recruiters who will charge you. They might charge you for writing a good CV. They might also charge you for applying for different jobs. They might also charge you, but remember that do not pay without looking and properly reading the agreements, or reading what they plan to, how they plan to help you. Okay, so remember that is very important. Okay, so if you are looking for a recruiter, if you want to pay somebody for getting that job search done for you, remember to see and check the background of the recruiter. Do not pay for any recruiter who's not a legal and proper registered recruiter and who won't be able to help you. So do not pay unnecessary to anybody who's not willing to help you. And do not pay, like, see, the recruiters might charge you 500 rupees, 1000 rupees, but if somebody is asking you 5,000, 10,000, 20,000 rupees or a lakh rupees, do not pay them. Okay, these are not genuine recruiters, and they are there just to get money from you. Okay, so remember that. Be very careful when you're doing your job search. Okay, so I'll just take a pause on this particular slide. Any questions, Dr. Mansi, in the chat box for how you do a job search? Or feel free to unmute yourself if you want to ask a question.
Students, if you have any question, please write it down in a chat box or unmute yourself.
Okay, so maybe now that
Uh,
Dr. Mansi,
no, there is no question. We can go ahead.
okay, fantastic. So now that we have written a CV, we have done our job search, and now we want to see which are the jobs that are available in the market. So what are the requirements? Okay, what is important is the job description. Okay, now that when you're going on these job portals like Naukri.com, LinkedIn.com, you will see there are different job openings which are posted. The position is posted, the role is posted, the job description is posted. Okay, you need to understand what it means by a job description or a JD. What it describes the job title. It will mention what is the job title, where you will be recruited at the start level, at a trainee level, at an executive level. So it will mention the job title. It will also mention which department you are going to be hired for. So remember to go through the job description correctly. The job description will mention what education you require. Do you require, as in, does the job require, does the role require just a graduation? Does it require post graduation? Does it require a master's program? Does it require an MBA? Does it require any certificate course? So the job description will mention the education. So remember to read and properly understand the requirements of the education from the JD. It will also mention the years of experience. That is also very important. Whether it requires no experience, whether it requires 1 year of experience, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years. So that will be mentioned in the JD. It will also mention whether it's a full time or contract. So remember, this point is very important. Full time means once you are hired, there is no restriction that how many years you can work. You will be there with the company for them, working only for that particular client, that particular sponsor, or that particular company or organization or institute. Okay, so that's a full time role. Remember, there are contractual agreements as well. There might be a contract. A contract can be for a month for an internship, 6 months for an internships, for for an internship. Sorry, it can be a contract can be for a year, contract can be for 2 years, 3 years. The contract will have a deadline when the contract ends. Please read the job description correctly and your offer letter correctly if you get it in the end after giving me an interview. If the offer letter mentions if it's a contract, whether it's for 6 months, whether it's renewable, and whether there are chances that you will get rehired for that particular role. If it's a contract, will they promote you, will they take you for the next role? So that is also very important. Remember to go through the contract. Whether it's if it's a contract, go through your agreement clearly, understand all the requirements. Okay, then the very important part is the payroll. Whether you are on the headcount of the company or whether you are on a third party payroll. Okay, when you are on a headcount of the company, all the company's policies, be it the leave policy, be it an insurance policy, be it a bonus, incentives, goals, the promotions, all these policies will apply to you if you are on the headcount of the company. But if you are on a third party payroll, remember that all these policies that a company has might not be applicable to you. You might be on some other company's payroll. What how this agreement, sorry, how this arrangement works, the company is, if you are on a third party payroll, the company does not have more headcount. Okay, lesser the headcount, lesser is the tax that the company has to pay to the government. Okay, so they will also try and get you on a contract, or the company will try and get you on a third party payroll. Okay, so go through the job description correctly, understand whether it's a full time position, whether it's a headcount position, or a third party position. And once finally, when you get an offer letter, understand what are the termination clauses, whether they are allowing you to leave the company within a month, 3 months, 2 months, 3 months. What is the notice period? Is it 1 month, 2 months, 3 months? Termination with can be within a day. It can be on the same day. It can be giving a 1 month notification, 1 month notice period, or if it's a bond. Remember, if you are signing a bond with the company, they will say that you will have to work for a year, or you'll have to work for 2 years, you will have to work for 5 years. And if you're not working for that particular time period, the bond will specify that you might need to pay them upfront. So please go through your agreements if you're signing any agreements with your recruiters or with your companies. So remember to read if there is a bond involved in that. If there is a bond involved, they might ask you to pay upfront when you're leaving the company. The amount can be your 1 month salary, it can be your 2 month salary, 3 month salary. but it will be clearly mentioned in the board. So remember to read the agreement or the job. If the job description mentions everything earlier, please go through it. If not, during your when you get your offer letter, please remember and understand these requirements. Okay. So I'll also again pause here on this particular slide, and if there are any questions, Dr. Mansi in the chat box.
Yeah. Students, if there is any question, you can write in the chat box or you can unmute yourself and ask. This is really important about your job description. When you sign up any accept any offer letter, you need to carefully read about job description. Does anyone has any question? Yeah. No questions till now. We can move ahead, Mr. Ninad.
Thank you so much. Yeah, thank you so much, Dr. Mansi. So now that we have seen how to write a CV, we also saw how to do our job search. We also saw how to read our job description. Now that we have seen written a CV, we have done our job search, we have done read our job description, and we have applied for a job. Now you have got a call from the HR person from your company to apply for an to be present for an interview. So now let us look at the different interview techniques. Okay, what are the different interview techniques? Before we go in the details of how the interview looks like and what are the different interview techniques, remember to do a pre-interview homework. Okay, what I mean by homework is read about the company, go on the company's website, understand who are the company's founders, who understand who's the company's leadership, understand who is going to interview you. When a HR person or when a recruiter or when a consultant is going to call you, ask that person, ask the HR person who is going to be the interviewer. Remember, if you do an homework on your interviewer, there are chances that you might have some common links with the interviewer. The interviewer might be from your college, he might be from your institute, he might be from your university, he might be knowing your colleagues, he might be knowing your friends, he or she might be knowing your professors, he might be knowing your some relatives. So if you have some good common points, it will also help you to speak during the interview. And if you take up those common points, it will also the communication will also ease out during the interview. So do an homework, go through the company, what does the company do, what are the services given by the company, 100 years old, 50 years old, is it a startup, who are the founders, how is the growth, how is the profitability of the company, is it a good company, is it a secured company, will it help me with a standard secure job, will it give me like a risk, the job will there be some risk in the in the job that you will be doing in that company. So that homework is very important. Do your own research, do your own background check of the company before applying to any company. You should not be taking jobs in companies which are not very reputable, which have been doing some fraudulent cases in the past. The leaders have been penalized in the past. There have been some fines which have been issued by government agencies or by some regulatory bodies. Do not apply to those companies. And ensure that your interviewers are also good, you have already done their homework. You can find these interviewers on LinkedIn, or if not, you can do your some background research on these interviewers, where they belong to, which companies they have worked for, where they have studied. So do your research for these interviewers as well. Now, once you've done your pre-interview homework, now there might be three options. The interviews can be a telephonic interview. It can be only telephonic. They cannot see your face. It can be a personal interview. They might call you to your office, or it might be a web-based. The one that we are doing today, it's like via a Google Meet, a Zoom call, or a Teams call. Okay. Now the first one is a telephonic interview. Now remember, it's a human tendency to lie on a telephonic interview. See, remember as we speak, whenever our parents are calling us, whenever our friends are calling us, it's easy for us to lie on a telephonic interview. So be very careful when you're speaking on a telephonic interview. They will immediately pick up that you are not confident, you are not positive. They'll immediately pick that up. So when you're speaking on just on a plain telephonic interview, be very confident, be very honest to what you are answering to the questions that the HR person is asking or the line manager is asking. So be very prepared for a telephonic interview. Be ready prior to the call. Be ready 15 minutes, 10 minutes prior to the call. Be in a room, stay in a room which is quiet. There is no background noise, and there should not be any distraction. distractions during a telephonic interview. Remember, you should not be walking when you're taking a telephonic interview. The reason why I'm saying that is, yes, I agree that sometimes you feel comfortable when you are walking and taking the interview, but remember there might be issues with the network. So when you're walking, the voice, but they might not be able to hear your voice clearly. The voice can go high and low. The voice cannot be heard clearly by the interviewer or by the HR person. Try and sit in one position. Try and sit quietly, calmly, and then take that telephonic interview. Okay, so that is very important. Then the next one is the personal face to face interview. Okay, your company might be, let's say, in Churchgate or VT. Your company might be in BKC. Company might be in Kurla. Your company might be in Andheri. Your company might be in Thane, or your company might be in Borivali. So remember, if it's a face to face interview, if you're staying outside Mumbai, if you're staying in Vasai Virar, if you're staying in Ambernath, Dombivli, Kalyan, if you want to travel to central Mumbai, if you travel to BKC, if you want to travel to central Mumbai, Lower Parel, if you want to travel to South Mumbai from Worli to Churchgate or VT, try and understand that you will need to travel to that place prior to the how long will it take to travel for you to travel to your organization or your company for a personal face to face interview. Try and remember how long it takes, which is the mode of travel that you plan to use, whether it's going to be a rickshaw, taxi, bus, train, Ola, Uber, you plan to drive, you plan to take a scooter, use a bike or your car. Remember to understand, if you plan to take your own vehicle, if there is enough parking, if there is pay and park there available near near the company, near the office location, if it's there or not. And we will also look at more details about how this personal interview goes in our subsequent slides. But remember, personal interview, you're traveling to the office, you're going to be sitting in front of a person, or it can be a team of 2 3 people. So there can be multiple people interviewing you on the same day. So that is your personal interview. We'll look at personal interview in more details in the subsequent slides. And the third option is like a web based interview. The one that we are doing today is a web based session, web based kind of a seminar, where we are interacting on a virtual basis. We are not even we can't see each other. We can see just from our cameras, the web cameras. But yes, that's like a web based interview. You're sitting in front of your camera, you're sitting in front of your laptop, sitting in front of your monitor or your webcam, and then you're appearing for an interview via Teams, Zoom call, or a Google Meet. Remember, even for these web based interviews, be prepared, be in a proper position where they can see your face. You should be facing your window. There should be enough light which should be coming on your face. So remember, when you're appearing for a web based interview, the light should be facing your face. You must be facing the camera, looking at the camera, looking at the screen that they are showing you. Or if you want to present something during the interview, as in if you are sharing your screen, you're sharing your presentation, then look at the camera, look at the screen, and then present, and then have that proper interaction with them. And we'll look at more details about how you need to interact with the interviewers. And then, now that you have appeared for the telephonic interview, you are appeared for a personal interview, or you are appeared for a web based interview. Remember, once you have appeared for this interview, thank the interviewer in the end. Ask relevant questions. Ask how the role is going to be, whether the role will involve travel, whether it's a 9 to 5 job, whether I'll be traveling in city, I'll be traveling interstate, I'll be traveling internationally. Will it require some kind of is there a travel insurance required? How, whether you'll be staying in different cities outside India, if it's going to be a traveling job, whether it's going to be a 9 to 5 job, what is the office duration, whether it's going to be an Indian time, whether it's going to be a UK time, it's going to be a American time, like 4 p.m. to 1 or 2 p.m. 2 a.m. in the night. And thank the interviewer after the interview, and ask questions about, try and understand the role that you're applying for, try and understand what position that you're applying for. And once you have given the interview, follow up for the interview. Remember, students who do not follow up, remember, the candidates who do not follow up with the HR person. See, the HR person might be scheduling interviews for 5 people, maybe 5 candidates or 10 candidates or 30 candidates or 50 candidates for one single role. Okay, remember, there are thousands of applicants. There are almost like a lakh applicants for a single position. But the HR person will not remember to follow up and remember to inform everyone unless you follow up proactively. So once you have given the interview, follow up via a proper standard formal standardized WhatsApp message, SMS, email, but it should be a professional follow up. Okay, it need not be hi, hello, and I want to know something like that. It should be a professional one, like saying that dear HR or hello HR or hello manager, hello HR manager. Thank you for scheduling my interview for so and so person. The interview went really well. I want to know if there is any feedback for my interview that you have received from so and so person. Okay, so remember to follow up. Unless you follow up, they will also forget that you had given an interview, and they might also not, inform you that whether you have been selected or not selected for the interview. Okay, so remember to follow up with the HR person in a nice way, in a formal way, and in a professional manner. Okay, so I'll again pause this. I'll pause for this particular slide and let me know if you have any questions on how you need to interact during an interview. So, Dr. Mansi, any questions in the
Yeah,
chat box?
Gaurish Patil has raised his hand. Gaurish, you can
Yes,
unmute
go ahead.
yourself and please ask a question.
Yes, good afternoon, sir. Myself Gaurav Dilip Patil. And I have a question about the interview techniques only. The
Mm-hmm.
second one, personal interview.
Correct.
So I think personal interview would be the best, like to have a mutual, like to know the understanding of the person of the client who is coming for the interviewer.
Okay, so I didn't understand the question clearly. So you want to understand how this personal interview will be like, as in what will be discussed during a personal interview.
No, sir. No, I will ask the question in a different way. I want to know that which one would be the best, a telephonic interview, personal or web based.
Oh, understood. Understood. Okay,
Yes,
so
sir.
see, it totally depends. If your company has already started their operations, post-COVID, they are asking everybody to travel to the office, then yes, it will be a personal face-to-face interview. Nothing is like the best, as in nothing is like telephonic is the best or personal or web-based is the best. Nothing, I mean, it totally depends on your attitude during the interview. Okay, be it a telephonic, be it personal, or be it web-based. If you are able to convince the interviewer or the HR person, any type of interview is fine. Okay, it need not be that you will be good on a telephonic interview, or you will be bad during a face to face, or you'll be great during a web based interview. Nothing like that, so don't worry at all. It can be any type of interviews. What matters is, see, during a personal face to face interview, they are able to see you in front of their eyes. Okay, so what you are wearing, how you are presenting yourself, how you have groomed yourself, what are you wearing, how you are sitting in front of them, what are your gestures in terms when you're speaking to them during a personal face-to-face interview. So that makes more impact. So what I'll say is, if it's a personal face-to-face interview, well and good, because you will be able to convince them easily. If it's a web-based interview, you will need to keep your webcam on, right? And you will need to keep and blur your background, or you'll need to create something in your background. You could create use some background effects. Okay, so to remember that when you're doing a Zoom interview, there should not be somebody who's just walking past in the background again and again. Okay, stay in a quiet place, stay in a stable place, and do not move yourself when you're doing a Zoom interview. Telephonic interview, as I already mentioned, do not walk and take the call, because there might be network issues when you're walking. Okay, so stay and sit in a single place and take the telephonic interview. Now remember, in a personal interview there can be different ways in taking a personal interview. A personal interview can be like a technical interview. They will try and understand if you have technical knowledge of maritime industry. It can be a scenario based interview where they will give you scenarios, they will give you case studies, they will ask you to solve the case study, they will give you a problem, they'll ask you to solve the problem, give a solution. Okay, so when they ask you these kind of questions, clarify the question. Okay, if you do not understand the question, clarify the question, ask them again. Sir, sorry sir, I did not understand the question, if you could please clarify, if you could please repeat. I mean, that is absolutely fine, because if you do not clarify the question, you might answer the question in a wrong way. So understand the question. It might be a technical kind of an interview, it might be a situational kind of an interview where they give you situations. It can be a stress interview. Okay, they will ask you very, very difficult questions. Remember, it is just a pattern of the interview. It is not that they are intentionally asking you that. It is a stress interview where they're trying to see whether you stay calm, whether you stay poised, as in you're like quiet and you're not getting aggressive, or you're not getting anxious, or you're not getting very, very nervous. So that can be one type, the stress kind of an interview. There can be an informal interview. Sorry. So for example, they might ask you that, that like Virat Kohli has resigned from the Indian cricket team. What do you feel about Rohit Sharma's captaincy? what they are trying to ask you is whether you are aware about what is happening in other industries, and whether what is your opinion about leadership, what is your opinion about team playing, what is whether whether Rohit Sharma is a good team player, whether somebody else, he or she might ask you about the all current Olympics. He or she might ask you about, there was, I read somewhere that there was a ship which caught fire when that ship was carrying some Audis and Bentleys. Okay, so they might ask you some random questions. They are just trying to understand whether you are aware about your environment, you're aware about your surroundings, you're aware about what's going on in the global news. So they want to understand that. So that can be an informal interview. It can be, these type of interviews can be anywhere. It can be a telephonic, it can be personal, or it can be web based. Okay, but there are general, like personal interview would be, they'll try and understand what have you done, what is your education, what is the experience that you have. They will evaluate you on different parameters. They might already have a script. Okay, they might be having a form that they have done. It can be a structured interview. Structured interview as in they might be already having pointers, as in the line manager will be having pointers given by the HR person. It can be a structured one. Unstructured would be like a random one. They are going from one topic to another, and it can be completely unstructured interview. Then there can be persuasive interview. They are trying to tell you that yes, you have to do this. Once you are hired, you will have to do this. This, what they're trying to understand, whether you are understanding the requirements, whether you are able to, you are flexible, you are able to adapt to that particular kind of a situation. So they are trying to understand that. Then there can be standardized interviews, where where you are being asked to give some aptitude test, where you are being asked to give some online test, and then they are checking your parameters, they are checking your scores, they are checking your results, and then they are calling you for the next round of interview. So those are standardized kind of interviews. Then there are disciplinary kind of interviews. I mean, those happen when once you have joined the company, and then there are some issues with your performance, and then HR calls you for some disciplinary action. So those are your disciplinary kind of interviews. Then there are counseling kind of interviews, where you're already working in the company and your HR person calls you to understand what is the problem, why you're not able to perform on the job. So those are counseling kind of interviews. And then you have the closed interviews. Those are mainly at the end, when you're exiting the company or the HR person knows what went wrong, whether you are not able to understand the job correctly, whether the environment was not right, the culture was not right, whether you are not able to gel with your bosses correctly, or with your subordinates correctly, with your colleagues or with your teams not correctly, and what went wrong when you want to leave the company. So there can be an exit interview as well, which will be scheduled by the HR. So yes, so to answer your question, yes, there's nothing like any this type of interview is the best type. It totally depends upon how you present yourself in the interview, what is the attitude that you have in the interview, and what kind of problem solving skills that you bring to the table in the interview. But I would definitely recommend a face to face interview, because that gives you more power and more chances of cracking the interview, because it's easy to convince a human being, face to face. It's easy to negotiate, during an face to face interview. It's easy to negotiate your salary during a face to face interview, rather than doing a telephonic or a web based interview. Okay, so I hope I answered that question. Any other questions, Dr. Mansi, in the chat box?
There is one question by Shraddha
Yes,
Motmal.
sir. Thank you so much, sir.
Yeah. There is one question by Shraddha Motmal. It is not regarding the interview techniques. She is asking how to apply for internship during the master's program. They are, all of the students are from the masters, so they want to know how to apply when they are actually studying and they want to apply for the internship.
Correct. So I agree. Thank you so much, Dr. Mansi. So I think for internships, students, what you can do is, first you will need to understand which are the companies in your domain, in your industry, who allow for an internship. Okay, and the internship can be in the industry that you work with. It can be in an industry where you don't work. That is also absolutely fine. But the internship should be also very relevant. The internship can be in finance, it can be in operations, it can be in marketing, it can be in supply chain, it can be in R&D. But remember that any kind of internship is absolutely fine as long as you get that internship experience. So for to answer your question, how to apply, how to find it, is first you will need to understand which are the companies who allow internships in their company, which are the companies, and what is the process that they apply for getting students for an internship. And then you need to reach out either to the HR person, via the contact us email ID on their website. You can apply via their career section on their website. You can reach out to them on LinkedIn, connect with them, network with them. speak to them professionally, send out your CV on LinkedIn, get to know them via your friends or your colleagues or your alumni, get in touch with their, get their phone numbers, try and speak to them, send out your CV via WhatsApp professionally with a standard professional format, SMS or an WhatsApp message, and send it out to them, speak to them, connect with them, try and understand which are the companies who are allowing internships, and if they want to apply, when you want to apply, also understand whether that internship would be a paid internship, whether the company wants will be paying you for 15 days once the company plans to pay you as a stipend, or whether it's an unpaid internship. Be it a paid or unpaid, it does not matter. What matters it is the experience that you will gain from that internship. Okay, so be it any internship, be it in the maritime industry, be it in any other industry, try and get that experience. Be it a small shop where you were working for 1 month or 3 months, it's absolutely fine as long as you understood the job, you paid attention to that particular job or that particular role in a startup or in a shop or in a small business or in a small company or in a big company, or be it an MNC. It's absolutely fine wherever you do that internship, but that internship should be like some valuable experience where you learned the basics of the business, where you understood how the business runs, what are the problems that the business was facing, and what you did as a intern in that company to solve their problems. Once you have gathered that experience, you can mention that experience in your CV, and that will really help you. Trust me, the experience that you gain from an internship, it might not be very high, because since the time period is not significantly high, the time period is 15 days, 1 month, 3 month, or 3 months or 6 months, the experience, it won't be that great. But yes, what you will learn by observing how the company works, by observing how the company's business works, how the company's process works, you will understand and how exactly the team playing, or how exactly the whole business is structured in a manner, or how it actually the whole process works. So try and apply to those companies who are giving internships. Speak to the alumni, speak to their HR people, speak to the hiring managers. When you're applying to the internships, try and understand whether the internship is for which particular department, which particular role, how long will that internship be, how, whether it will be a paid internship, whether it going to be a free internship, as in they are not going to pay you, and whether that internship will add value to your CV. So that internship should be valuable, and the internship that you're going to mention in your CV, the name of the company, the time period spent in that particular internship, and mention what all things you did in an internship, so that when you're applying for the real job, as in your proper full-time job, when you're graduated from your institute, you will be considered based on the experience and value that you provided for during the internship that you did for like a 15 days or 1 month. Okay, so hope I answered your question. Any other questions, Dr. Mansi?
Yeah, one more person, Sriti Gupta. She wants to ask you a
Yes,
question. Yeah, please go ahead.
yes, ma'am. Like sir, you were talking about the internship value. So like many a time I went for applying job, and like I'm totally fresher, and I'm only having internship of 2 or 3 months, like 3 or 4 months. So when I go for applying a job, then they totally consider me like many a time I felt that they totally considered me of fresher, new. So like how to deal with that in spite of like writing in the resume or the CV that internship of this month or that month, but like I am totally considered as a fresher one. So and they are like considering the fresher candidate, they are keeping they are like giving the position of a very like starting position or something like that. So how to deal with that, like i
Correct,
always
correct.
having this feeling.
Understood, understood. No, I understood. I agree, completely agree. See, all that matters for any company is the profits. Okay, so see, any company, if they want to hire more people, okay, every human resource is a cost to them. They are going to hire us. They are hire us when we graduate, when we are freshers. The company will have to spend money on you. Okay, first they will have to train you. For then they will have to give you salaries. Then they will have to ensure that you are giving results to the company, and your performance is helping the company to solve some problems. So when you're applying for an internship, or when you are applying as a fresher, try and check what issues they are facing, and try and explain how how exactly you will solve their problems, what is the value that you're adding, what is the kind of, what are the skills that you have. Okay, all that matters is how you communicate and how you will convince them that you are, you are the best candidate for that particular role. Okay, so you will have to explain what exactly you will bring to the table, how easily you will, grasp their process, how easily you will be able to learn what they are doing, how easily you will be able to support and solve their problems. So you will have to convince them so that, even if you are a fresher, and even if they're hiring you at a very beginners level, at a very, it's the very start position. I mean, I agree. I mean, that is how it, there any company is there here to make a profit. Okay, nobody, I mean, unless you are an NGO or unless you are some government agency, you are not here to, to make charity. All businesses, be it any industry, they are here to make profits. Okay, so understand their point, their viewpoint, understand their perspective. They are spending money to hire you, they are spending money for your salaries, they are spending money for on somebody who's going to train you. So they are putting money. There's a cost involved on getting somebody, even if it's a new person in a company, even he or she is a fresher to the company. So you will have to convince the interviewers, you will have to convince the HR how you are, good to the company. And I would recommend that, be it a starting, at the lowest of the bottom of the pyramid kind of a level position, it's absolutely fine, as long as you quickly go and learn in that position, you get that job. Because see, there are many people who are sitting at for the 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, or like, there are a lot of people who are sitting at home, is still searching for a job. So if you're getting a position, even if it's at a very lower level, even if it's paying you very meager amounts, it's absolutely fine. What matters is you are getting a job, you're getting a company which is going to pay you, which is going to give you that experience, and you are going to finally have that experience on your CV. Okay, so that is very important. So start is very important. Unless you start your career, you won't be able to understand the complete job market, or you won't be able to understand your domain or your industry. So I would recommend, even if it's a starting level position, even if it's a fresher position, and they are not paying you really well, they're saying that I'll pay you 2 lakhs, 3 lakhs, 5 lakhs, 10 lakhs, whatever, in the beginning, it's absolutely fine. Be it a smaller amount, even if you start, start is very important. If you're getting the job, take that experience, learn for 6 months, learn for a year, learn for 2 years, then look for a better opportunity, and then apply for better jobs, better companies, better cities. If you see that there are no good jobs in Mumbai, there are better jobs for your maritime industry in some other cities, apply to those cities. Try and understand if you can relocate to that particular city, how the relocation will work, whether you can settle in that city, the food, the rent, the travel, the commute, whether you will be able to do that in that particular city. So also understand that. So I'll recommend, go for that job, be it a fresher job, low, at the executive level, as in the starting administrative level. Take up that job, no issues. Learn in that job, spend some time in that job, understand the company, understand the particular process or the job market, the industry, the domain, and then switch jobs, go to multiple companies, learn there, and then you will definitely get, good jobs, good companies, and your pay will also rise. So you don't need not worry about, whether they're giving you a starter level at a very low level. It's absolutely fine. Okay, any other questions, Dr. Mansi?
Yeah, there is Amir. Amir, you have raised your hand.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, thank you, Mansi ma'am. Hi. Uh,
Yes, Amir.
Ninad sir, there's one question that I have. If a person having more than a decade of experience working in some other domain in the industry, and now the person is wanting to move to maritime. You know, I mean, it's me actually. I'm just talking about myself. So, what are the suggestions for the job hunting? Because now I have to consider a couple of things from my side. I'm new to the industry, so I might get considered as a fresher, but then I cannot compromise on my salary, right? Because I am earning, I am well settled in some other area, and then I have my commitments. So, what are the suggestions if a person is moving to the other domain? If you can help me with the interview techniques.
Sure, sure. Thank you so much. I understand. I mean, I understand your concern, and it really happens. It happens with many people. It's absolutely fine if you, even if you're changing your domain. There are many people who go from finance to marketing, and who also go from, let's say, finance to maritime. I mean, that's absolutely fine. Changing the domain is not a issue. But I agree with what you're saying, and that actually happens. You, after 10 years of spending some time in some other industry, you might have reached at a level of, at a senior level, at the levels that we already saw, the hierarchy in a company. You might have already, gone past the level of employees. You might have already reached a managerial or a senior managerial level, or you might be already at an associate director or director level. And now that you want to shift to a maritime industry, and they might not take you directly at a director level, they'll say, we'll have to take you at an associate director or a senior manager level, or at a lower level, other than the level that you have currently. And they might say that, no, Ninad, since you're already there in some other domain, be your salary, even be it, let's say it's 10 lakhs, 15 lakhs, 20 lakhs, 50 lakhs, whatever it might be, they'll say that, no, we cannot, take you at that particular level. Either we can match you with your current salary, or they will say you will have to take a pay cut. Now it totally depends on you, whether are you really interested in taking up that job or that role in maritime, and you feel that you will have good career prospects in maritime with the experience that you've already gained in some other domain for the last 10 years. Okay. If you feel that now switching from this to maritime will help you to get a better career prospects, then I believe then you should take that risk. Because I feel that, once you have spent a quite amount of time in 10 years, let's say for example, for myself, I'm already in let's say in pharma for 10 years, and now I've say that I'm saying that I'm applying for maritime and I have to apply there. They will see, the interviews of the companies will ask you, Ninad, do you know anything about maritime? Have you spent some good amount of time working in these roles? What is it that you bring to the table, and how will you add value to our company in this maritime industry? So I will have to convince them. Otherwise, they will consider Ninad Satam from some other domain, now want to join maritime as again a fresher. I will have to start from scratch. I will have to again, start at a very basic level, at the fundamental level, and then I will have to again grow myself in different roles in the maritime industry. So my suggestion would be, if you feel the risk of shifting from another domain to maritime now is fine for you, even if you have to take a pay cut, or if they allow you to match your salary with your current salary, and if you're willing to take that risk, if you're willing to again spend your career, let's say if you have spent your 10 years, and I believe if you have already graduated with something else, and you have spent your 10 years, you might be already spent your 10 years of your career. Let's say your career starts at around 2022 and you have 60, so you have total around 38 or 40 years of your career span that you have, and you're already saying that you have already spent 10 years of your 40 years. So now your remaining 30 years, if you feel that you can spend in the maritime industry, growing in different roles, and becoming like a, at a starting level, and then going, to a manager, senior manager, director, presidents, or and you can do that in your next 30 years in maritime, if you're sure about that, if you're confident about that, then yes, I would definitely suggest that shift to that particular industry, and then look for job opportunities there. But yes, I agree, the companies will not directly pay you higher salary, because they'll feel that, the experience and, the skills that you have are in a different domain, and hence they will say that you might have to take a pay cut. What I'll suggest you, that you negotiate with them and try and match your salary. If your salary is, x amount, try and tell them that give me at least x plus 1, and you need not give me x plus 10, or you need not give me x plus 30 or x plus 40, which is 40%. So what I'm telling you is, try and convince them to give you at least some x plus amount, x plus 10, x plus 1, or x plus 5. Okay. If they don't, and if they tell you that, it will be x minus 1 or x minus 5, then tell them that at least match the salary and give me the x amount that I'm currently getting from my current salary. Okay. So you need to do a risk analysis. You will need to understand, like a proper SWOT analysis, as in what are your strengths, what are your weaknesses, and how will you, what opportunities you have in maritime industry, and whether you will be able to progress in maritime industry, and whether maritime industry will pay you, you know pay you well in the next 30 years of your career, since you already mentioned that you have spent already 10 years of your career, which is a career span of out of the career span of 40 years. So I hope I was able to answer your question.
Yes, sir. That's
Thank you.
really helpful.
Thank you.
So
Yeah, any other
there's
questions?
one more question that I not just a counter
Sure,
question,
sure,
but
go ahead.
just continuation to that. So how about if a person continues his job in the area of IT, right, and then probably look for a consultation, kind of part-time job in the area of maritime, wherein so how will I able to convince the maritime industry that okay, I'm working on this particular area in the area of software engineering, but I'm willing to work in the area of maritime. So um, I want to do some kind of part-time opportunity so that I'll gain some sort of experience there, and then later on when I'm good with my exposure over the maritime um, industry, then I'll continue the job over there for the full time. So how about this? How will I able to convince? Can you
To answer that question, now see, currently in India, see, it's very difficult to do two jobs at a time. Okay, so that is very difficult. First, that is a problem. If you're working in currently in some other domain, and if you're already working like a 9 to 5 job or like 8 hours per day from Monday to Friday or Monday to Saturday, doing another part-time job would be very challenging and difficult for you if they're asking you to work from their office. Okay, so doing something part-time, and again it will be again conflicting. So you'll have to check with your current.
sorry to interrupt. Yeah. I mean, I have a little bit knowledge on that. So, how like working as a consultant, full time consultant, or part time consultant on the IT industry, right? Continue working in the IT industry. I wanted to say, if I can spend as a part time in the maritime industry. So moving towards both the industry in parallel, but then in the maritime industry I'll spend little bit less time. See, if I want to do some sort of consulting in the area of IT, right, I can do some sort of freelancing, right, for
Mhm,
2 hours or weekends, and I can
mhm,
still work in the in the other
mhm,
programming language or
mhm,
any other development. So
mhm.
how about doing the same in the maritime industry? Can we do that? If I have to, you know, you know, um, request any kind of part-time opportunity from the maritime,
Mhm,
in addition to what I'm working in the area of IT. So,
mhm.
is there any suggestions that you can provide to get
Yes,
that
yes, yes.
part-time
See,
job in the maritime?
correct. I agree. See, understand the condition in India. Okay, in India there is no scope for part time. See, in US, UK, Europe, Middle East, everywhere, part time concept is present. As in, we in all other countries outside India, they recognize part time as something which is done properly and legally. Okay, and professionally. In India, the concept of part time is not yet. It's in a very I'll say very at a very native stage. At a very it's a people are still understanding the concept of part time. Okay, so in other countries they understand the concept of part time, but here the people don't understand. So what happens here in India is either you work full time like proper 9 to 5, and then you will have to do some part time on weekends, but also you'll have to check whether in your current company your HR and your legal allows you to do that. Okay, if your current agreement with your current company says that you cannot be doing multiple jobs, then your current HR and legal might take actions on you, because see, they will know you, because if you're doing something part time and your part-time salaries are coming in your account, and they are paying you some EPF, that EPF account will also have the name of the company that you're working for, and then you will all the transactions, all the tax deductions. So see, even the prime minister and even the finance minister, everybody will get to know that you were working in a multiple companies. So I'll suggest that I mean, consult your current company, consult whether this is allowed, because if they find that out, you might lose your current job, which is a good job that you're already doing in your current company. So if I would suggest that if you're taking something part time, don't do it like a paid. If you want to do it a paid one, you'll have to tell your current company, because anything that is paid becomes like a job, becomes like an income, becomes like your source of income. Okay, so understand that the duality, as in it's a risk and benefit kind of an issue. So the duality is to do this kind of a thing or not to do. So the duality is, if you go ahead, then what is the risk, and if you don't do it, what is the risk? If you do it, then yes, the current company might have some concerns. If you don't do it, you won't get that experience, which is suggesting that you want to get that experience by doing some part-time roles for maritime. So try and understand that. So try and understand if your current company is fine with that approach of you doing something part-time on the, in the evenings or on the weekends. If they allow you to do that, feel free to go ahead and do that, get that experience, get that added on your CV. That's absolutely fine. Will definitely work wonders for you with your CVs if you want to apply for more positions in maritime. But yes, I would suggest that consult your current manager, consult your HR, consult your legal. If they're allowing you to do part time, yes, well and absolutely fine. Go ahead, take up those part time positions, learn about the maritime industry, get that experience, and put it on your CV. Okay. I hope that answers your question.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Great, fantastic. Thank you, Dr. Mansi. Any other questions?
No, then
Oh,
we can go move ahead.
fantastic. Thank you so much, Dr. Mansi. So yes, so now that we have understood what are the different interviews, what are the different interview techniques, let us quickly look at your body language during the interview. So we already saw there are three types of interviews, right? The telephonic, the personal, and the web-based interview. So when you are actually going for a face-to-face interview, or you are in a web-based interview, like the way I'm sitting right now in front of a webcam, you will have to ensure that you are looking at the interview panelists all the time, and ensure if there is a single person, you do not stare in his or her eyes. You maintain eye contact for some time, and then you think about it, you think about your answer. If there is a panel of three people, then you maintain eye contact with them for at least 5 seconds. Okay. So body language during an interview, be it a face to face or be it web based, it's very important. Now, before we do that, understand, do a Reiki. What I mean by Reiki is, we already spoke about this, is if the company is in central Mumbai, if the company is in South Mumbai, if the company is in Andheri or in Borivali or is in Thane, and you stay somewhere else, then understand you will have to go to that place on a day-to-day basis. So you'll have to travel, you'll have to spend your 8 hours, you'll have to spend your 1 hour or 2 hour in the morning commuting to that office, commuting by train, commuting by bus, by a motorcycle or by a car. You'll have to go to that place on a day-to-day basis, on a monthly, yearly basis. So understand, are you comfortable traveling to that place, traveling to that location? So that is very important, where if you when you're applying for a job, when you're applying for a company, or when you're applying for any organization. So do a Reiki. What I mean is, try and understand what is the how long is the commuting time, how far is that office from any particular station or any particular bus stop or any particular metro station. So understand that. Understand how exactly you will commute. If it's the office is on the 19th floor or the 20th floor, 30th floor, how exactly you will be able to reach the office on time. So try and do proper homework when you're even applying for a job or an interview, or even when you're selecting a company. Okay. Then the face, what I mean by face is, you need to be very presentable during the interview. If you're a female, then your hair needs to be tied up. Also, you need to wear some formal clothes, or you need to be in some proper formal attire. Even for men, you should be in a formal attire. You should be wearing some formal proper professional clothes when you're appearing for the interviews. Your hands should be open. So see, if you can see in the picture, he or she is not crossing the hands, or she has not folded her hands. Okay. So you should be the hand should be in an open position. So what this gives a signal to the interviewers is that yes, you are open, you are flexible, you're positive, you're optimistic, and you are not nervous, you're not confident. So this gives a very positive impression to the interviewer. Okay. So the panelists will be looking at you. So look at them at least for every 5 seconds when you are answering the question. So your face should be straight, looking at the panelist and answering their questions. Okay. Clothes are very important. Remember, there is a concept of power clothing. If wear your best clothes for an interview. Okay. Spend money on clothes. Go to H&M, go to Marks and Spencers, go to the best professional shop of the professional as in like a official professional clothing shop, where they sell clothes. Buy proper professional clothes, so that when you're sitting in an interview, you will also feel confident. So that is the concept of power clothing, as in wear your best clothes. Spend money on getting good clothes for the interview. That's absolutely fine. Instead of spending money on casual clothes, casual t-shirts, casual shoes, sneakers, spend money on getting some good clothes for your interview. That will have a great impact, as in they will consider you as a confident person, because you are also wearing some good clothes during the interview. interview. So that is very important. Eye contact is very, very important. Okay, do not look at the floor. Okay, do not look at the ceiling, that means you are guessing. Do not look at the floor, that means you are not confident. Do not look at the door, that means you are nervous, you want to just leave the interview. There is a book by Alan Pease on body language. If you want to buy that, go on Flipkart, go on Amazon, buy that book. It gives you all the tips and tricks of body language. It tells you about how you need to sit, how you need to interact, how you need to talk to your panelists. Go through that book. It's called Alan Pease and it's on body language. It's available on Amazon, Flipkart. Go through that book. It's a simple book. It will help you during in the long run of your career, because see, I believe you guys are already in your 20s and you have like 40 years of your career still pending. Okay, if you are in 22, 23, you still have 38 years of your career, if you, considering you retire at the age of 60. So go through that book, learn all the gestures or the body language skills. And I can assure you, I can trust me that that book will help you, to negotiate for better salaries, for better positions in the long run. So go through that book. It's available. Then your attitude is very important. See, all that matters. Even let's say, even when I'm hiring, let's say when Nina Chatham is hiring, I'll look for a candidate who has a positive attitude during the interview, who is there as a problem solver. Okay, let's say if the interviewers ask me, Nina Chatham, what are you bringing to the table? Why should we hire you? What is it that we should hire you for? I should be able to convince them that if they hire me, what problem I'll solve, how is the cost of that company I'll reduce, how will I make the process efficient that they have, how will I reduce the turnaround time, what is it that the problems that their company is facing, and how is it that Natsatam is going to solve those problems. Okay, so it should be all about how I'm going to add a value to their company. It should be all about that. Remember, the questions are the questions that these panelists ask you is about how you as a person, as a professional, you will solve these problems. They are also trying to understand how you are as a person, whether you are flexible, or whether you are rigid. You should be very flexible, whether you are positive, whether you are or whether you are pessimistic. They're trying to understand whether you are an individual contributor or whether you are a team player. They're trying to see whether you have good communication skills, or whether you are you are not able to communicate clearly, but you can still do some kind of a coding, or some kind of other jobs where there's no communication per se required. So they are trying to assess you about you as a professional, and you as a personal, what's your personality, how you are in your personal, professional and social lives. Okay, so remember that your attitude in the interview is very important. Okay, so with that, I'll take a pause, and yes, feel free to ask me any questions that you have about how to crack the interview. So Dr. Mansi, any questions in the chat box?
No, there is no question in the chat box till now. Does anyone has a question about the cracking the interview, or
Okay,
any wants any tip from Mr. Ninad Satam? Okay, no questions. We can move ahead.
absolutely. Thank you so much, Dr. Mansi. So now that we have seen how to write a CV, how to do a job search, we have also read the job description. Now we got the job interview. We also appeared. We now know how which are the different job interview techniques. We also saw how which are the job interviews formats and the patterns. We also saw how to be present and be presentable during the interview. Let us look at quickly now at the communication skills. What should be your communication skills when you are sitting in front of a interview panel? Now, the first and the foremost thing is read and understand the job description, which we already saw in the previous slide. Okay, all the questions that the panelists are going to ask you, because the job description will have the roles, will have the responsibilities, will have the qualification. The job description will have the skills that are required. These panelists, the interviewers, are going to assess you on everything that is mentioned in the job description. Okay, remember to read and understand the job description correctly during the before the interview. Okay, that is very important. Let the interviewers ask questions. This point is very, very, very important. You must have seen multiple web series on Netflix or Prime, Disney Hotstar, Z5, everywhere, right? what is important, see, they all they show during those different crime series, or different investigative kind of series, is that, see, the detectives or the policemen or anybody who's like sitting in front of the person and who's getting interrogated, they will ask question and this guy he or she answers, right? It's exactly the same thing that they do during an interview. However, it's for a professional level. So now what happens here is, let them ask the questions. Be very very quiet. Be quiet in terms of listening. Okay, listen to them. There is a difference between hearing and listening. Okay, hearing means you're just hearing the voice. You don't understand the question, you're just hearing them. Listening means you're listening to the question, as in what problem that he or she is facing, and what is the answer or the solution that you can provide to their question. Okay, so listen to the question clearly. If you do not understand the question, please ask them to repeat. Say, pardon me sir, I did not understand. Pardon me ma'am, I did not understand. Sorry ma'am, I did not understand. Could you please clarify? Could you please repeat? Could you please give repeat the question? So ask them to repeat the question. See, our human mind will immediately start drafting the answer in our mind. Okay, so do not be quick to answer the question. Listen to the interviewer, take a pause, think for a second, and then answer the question. Okay, do not be very reactive. Be responsive. Be respond to the question. Do not react to the question. Do not get angry, do not get anxious, do not get nervous. Just listen to the question and say, it's absolutely okay to say, I do not know, but I am willing to learn this particular skill, this particular task, or this particular process. Remember, the interviewers are already an expert in their domain. They have already spent 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years in the domain or in the industry or in that particular department. They already know the process. If you lie during the question, they will immediately understand. Okay, so just pause, stay calm, let them ask the questions, and then you answer. And the next point is also very important. Answer only what is being asked. If they ask you about what have you done, what is your education, only answer what is being asked, your education, and pause. Give a full stop, pause, and then let them ask the next question. Do not give unnecessary information which the interviewer is not interested. Trust me, believe me, and I can assure you that if you go on talking about yourself, it will make them very very frustrated. They will be disappointed and they will not be very happy, because they have also taken out time of 15 minutes, half an hour, 1 hour from their busy schedule to interview you. They are spending money, the company is spending money for making them sit in front of you to get you on board. So they are a company spending money, they are spending their time from the busy schedule, and you are also spending your time and energy to crack the interview. Okay, so listen to the questions, answer only what is asked. Do not give any unnecessary information unless it is asked by them. Okay, so that is very important. Maintain eye contact when you speak. We already discussed this. Or look at them, have at least for 5 seconds. There is, if there is a panel of interviewers, look at each one of them for at least 5 seconds, and then move to the next interviewer. Okay, so that is also very important. Maintain eye contact. And last and not the least, always keep a smiling face. Smile at the interviewers. Be a very positive. So smiling gives a very positive kind of you know a positive kind of an impact on the interviewer. So keep a smiling face during the interview. Smiling also, our human mind is, it's programmed that, once you smile, your mind also, takes you in a, in a positive zone, so that, you also feel confident, and the nervousness and anxiousness goes away. So keep a smiling face. Keep your hands open, or even if you're keeping it, don't cross it completely. Do not cross them completely. Do not cross your legs. As you can see in the picture, keep your feet straight in a perpendicular 90 degrees manner, so that, you also feel confident. Keep your hands on the table. You need not keep your hands on your thighs, or on your knees. keep it on the table, so that they also feel that you are confident. Okay, so when you're sitting in front of them, now it also depends how big is the table. If it's a small table with just one person sitting in front of you, then yes, you will have to think how you plan to sit. But if it's a bigger table, it's a cabin of some director or some manager or some senior manager, then ensure that sitting in a manner where you're not very close to their face, or you're not very close to their feet, so that your feet is touching their feet, so that ensure that you are staying away from. If they're asking you to have a glass of water, please have a sip. If they're asking you whether you want to have some tea, coffee, if you are happy to have that, politely say yes. If you don't want to have a tea or coffee, also you are free to say no. So you can absolutely say no. It's not like you have to say yes, that if they are asking you for a tea or coffee. Okay, so remember that as well. So I'll pause on this particular slide. Any questions on this particular slide, how you can present yourself in the interview? Dr. Mansi, any questions in the chat
Yes,
box?
there is one question from Mr. Shreyas. He wants to know how not to be nervous during interview or any of the presentation. What will be the tip, or what will be the like cheat code where many person will feel the nervousness when they are facing an
Yes, yes,
interview.
yes,
So how to get rid of
absolutely.
that feeling?
Yes, yes, thank you so much for that question. Yes, I also felt nervous during my first interview. It's absolutely fine to feel nervous, where we might get goosebumps, or we might get something, our butterflies in our tummy, and we might feel that. It is absolutely fine. So, how to overcome that? First and foremost, reach the interview 15 minutes early. Do not reach on exact time. Reach 15 minutes early. Reach 1 hour early. It's absolutely fine. Reach 1 hour early. Stay outside the building. Go inside the building, in the reception at least half an hour or 20 minutes prior to the interview. Sit at the reception, get a hang of the surroundings, how the reception looks like, how the company looks like. Look at the people who are entering, the company's area through the reception, whether they are smiling, happy. So you'll get an understanding how the culture of that company is. So go to the reception, sit at the reception, take long breaths. Okay, long breaths in terms of inhale with your nose. If you see today's Times of India, there is a front page ad of Mindspace. So Mindspace is an app which helps you with meditation. It helps you to overcome nervousness. Okay, so I'm not recommending to use that app. I mean, you can definitely feel free to use that app. But what it exactly tells you is, if you're feeling nervous, it's all because of your breath. Okay, what you need to do is, you need to inhale with your nose and then exhale with your mouth. Okay, do that when you feel anxious. Do that 3 times, 5 times, 10 times, till the time your anxiousness goes away. Okay, sit quietly, stay calm, close your eyes, and inhale with your nose, exhale with your mouth. Okay, exhale with your mouth, that is very important. Do not exhale with your nose. What happens when we do this is, our mind makes it reduces our heartbeat. So when we are anxious, when we are nervous, when we are not comfortable, when we have fear, our heartbeat increases. So when we take deep breaths, our heartbeat comes down. Okay, so when we are anxious, our heartbeat goes from 100 to 110, 120, which is on a higher scale. So if you breathe and calm yourself down, and you breathe and exhale with your mouth, your heart rate will automatically come down. As your heart rate comes down, your nervousness will go away, and then you will feel confident. Okay, so be present for the interview at least 15-20 minutes in advance, so that your anxiety goes away. Be on time, so that will take away your anxiety, because the rush hour is during the morning. If it's your interview at 9 o'clock, if remember, if your interview is post lunch, then also the interviewers might feel sleepy. Okay, there might be chances, so you'll have to be very alert. You will have to be very aware about what you're speaking, what you're telling them. Okay, so the nervousness can go away if you are are reaching there on time. You're understanding the surroundings, you're understanding where you're going to sit, whose cabin you are going to sit, who's the interviewer. If you have done your background research on the interviewers, you have done your background research, you have done your homework on the company, you know who the company is, you know how the older company, if you know and you've done your homework, you won't be nervous. Okay, but if you don't know anything about company, if you don't know anything about the interviewer, if you don't know where the company's office is, if you don't know anything, and if you just go to the interview 100%, I can assure you, you will be nervous. Okay, so remember my tips, that you will have to do some research, you'll have to do some background, reach there on time, take some deep breaths, keep a smiling face, and trust me, you will definitely crack the interview. Okay, the signs of nervousness would be, you're moving your knees very fast. That's a sign of nervousness. Okay, you're having a keychain in your hand, or you're just moving that, you're flipping the pen, you're fidgeting with your pen. That's a sign of nervousness. So understand what are the signs of nervousness and try to overcome them. Do not show these signs during the interview if you're giving a face-to-face interview, because the interviewers will immediately identify those signs and they will know that you are already nervous. So remember those signs, read, buy those books. There are a lot of body language books available on Amazon and Flipkart. Buy those books, go through those books. Those are smaller books, don't worry, those are like just 50 pages, 100-page books, and those are very simple English language. I mean, it's not very complicated, you can immediately understand those. Go through them and it will definitely help you. Okay, so I hope I answered your question about the anxiousness and nervousness. So Dr. Namansi, any other questions?
Yeah, Shreyas has written one more question, but I will prefer Shreyas unmute your mic and ask that question that will remove your nervousness. Shreyas, the same person is.
Yeah, ma'am.
Yeah, please
Yeah,
go
ma'am.
and
One
ask the
second.
question. And then we will
Yes,
take your
yes, go
score.
ahead.
Yeah, what a question is while in an interview, should we need to use humor to entertain the interviewers or just to grab their attention or something?
Shreyas, can you be a little slower? I didn't understand the question.
Okay, yeah, okay. While in an interview, do we have to entertain the interviewers to get their
Enter-
attention or something?
by entertainment, I mean, if you can give me an
Uh,
example, what do you mean by
but
entertainment?
yeah, by using a sense of humor.
Absolutely not, unless required. Okay, so it is I would never suggest to crack a joke in an interview, because you don't know the person in front of you. Okay, unless you know the person. Okay, if you know this person from your friend or from relative, or that person knows you already, then it is fine because that person will not judge you. Okay, never crack jokes in an interview. I mean, it's fine that you have a good sense of humor. I mean, it's good to become a stand-up comic and do a show in Habitat in Khar, or a comedy club in Lower Parel or Bandra. But it's absolutely not a good idea to crack jokes in front of the interviewers, because they are there to spend their precious time from their busy schedule, and they're spending their money, time and energy and money on interviewing you. Okay, if you start making jokes and start entertaining them, they will not be very happy. They'll be disappointed and they'll definitely not consider you for the next round. Okay, so it totally depends whether you know that person or not, and whether you know that person is how, some interviewers are sometimes very judgmental. They might also have their own egos, and they might have their own attitudes as well. Remember, okay? So remember that, and it's absolutely, if you know that person, if you know the interviewer, then be that bold and confident, and you can definitely crack a joke. However, I will say, yes, I will not recommend that you crack a joke, because it's very, unless the joke is very neutral, it's not derogatory, you are not defaming anybody, you are not saying anything bad about any other company or any other person, and the joke is about a neutral standpoint, which that person, the interviewer, also understands, then yes, but the joke should be in a very subtle manner. Because remember, Shreyas, there is a thin line between a joke and a sarcasm. Okay, it's a very thin line. If the interviewer takes it as a sarcasm, if the interviewer takes it that you're trying to he or she might take it as an insult. Okay, so be very careful when you plan to say something which is funny, which is not sarcastic. Okay, so be very careful. I mean, I agree that I mean, there is a very thin line between being funny, between being sarcastic, and between insulting. They might feel it very insulting, so be very careful. So I would not recommend to have jokes being told during an interview. I'll suggest you that you stay neutral. Very either you if they are asking you to take sides, as in, for example, they're asking you to give be give pros and cons. If they're asking you to take a side and take a stand, for example, about, let's say, for example, a dowry, or let's say child marriage, anything. If they say that, Shreyas, what do you feel about it? Now you'll have to take a stand, whether it's good or whether it's bad. Remember that if they're asking you to take a stand, you'll have to speak only for that for that point, or you'll have to talk against that point. So be very very careful about what they are asking and how you are communicating. Okay. So Shreyas, I hope that answers your question.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Great, thank you. Any other question,
There
Dr.
are two
Mansi?
more questions. Sweetie wants to ask a question, and then Murmuryane has posted on a chat. So first, we will move on to the Sweetie. Sweetie, you can
Yes,
ask
Sweetie.
your
Uh,
question.
yes, sir. Sir, actually, I wanted to ask that when we are like going for an interview the first time, everything has been written in our resume or CV. So right from the name and all the education qualification and everything has been written on it. So when the interviewer first, the first question of the interviewer is describe or explain something about yourself. So, do I need to repeat that everything that has been written already on the resume, or should I say something else?
Great,
This
great.
was
Thank you so much for asking that question. Yes. So what they see when they are asking you, tell me about yourself, they are not asking you to read your CV. They are not asking you to tell everything from your CV. So you need to be very brief and very precise. Remember the how long is your interview? If your interview is for 10 minutes, if your interview is for 15, if it's for 30 minutes, if it's for 1 hour, 60, as in if it's for 60 minutes, as in 1 hour, remember the time period. If you have sufficient time, then describe the way it should be. Let's say they ask me, Ninad, tell me about yourself. I'll start with, sir, my name is Ninad Satam. I've done my education from so and so institute. I have I have done this. Let's say I'm a fresher. I'll say, sir, I have done this in my during my college days. I have participated in this, and sir, I have these, or madam, I have these skills. I have Microsoft Office skills. I have some other skills that I've learned. Let's say I've done some computer classes. I've done learned some coding. I've learned something else. I'll tell that. Let's say I've worked in some, let's say a chemist shop. Let's say I've worked in a startup. I'll talk about that. Okay. I'll say about I've worked here. So for this thing, for 15 days, for 3 months, or for 6 months, what I've learned from this experience is about how this business works. So it's all about you describe depend. It totally depends how long is your interview. If your interview is for 1 hour, then yes, spend at least 2 to 5 minutes on talking about yourself and telling them how good you are in terms of what are the skills that you have gained, what is the knowledge that you have, and what kind of attitude that you have. The attitude should talk about how you are a problem solver, whether you are a team player, whether you are are very good at negotiation, whether you are able to negotiate conflicts, whether you are able to resolve conflicts between departments, whether you are able to resolve conflicts between two people. So they are looking for those clues and those points from what you're talking. Okay, remember, they are also trying to listen to what you're saying. You are new to them, although they have gone through your CV, they have read your CV, but they are also trying to see what value you are bringing to the table. So highlight those very good points when you're talking about yourself. Okay, so mention your name first, then your education, then your experience, then your skills that you're having. Skills can be soft skills, as in you're good with communication, you're good with negotiation. Those are your soft skills. Hard skills are you have learned some language, you have learned so you've done some course, you participated in some seminars or conferences or competitions. Those are your hard skills, as in you have your certificates ready with you. Okay, and then you talk about your achievements. So they will say, tell me one achievement which you were very proud of from your past school days, college days, or from your experience. Remember, the achievement should be something very professional. Achievement cannot be that you won a prize in your drama competition, you won a prize in a cricket competition, you won a prize in some music competition. It need not be that. It should be something which is valuable to the job that you are applying. Okay, it should not be that you have posted a video on YouTube and it's already got 1 lakh views. It can be useful if that video that you posted was a useful video. It should not be some कच्चा बादाम का वीडियो डाल दिया और उस पे 1 लाख व्यूज मिल गए. It's of no use. Okay, the interviewer is of it's of no use for the interviewer. So you need to have, if you created a video, absolutely great. If you have your own YouTube channel, absolutely fine. If you have your own, you are an Instagram influencer, or if you have your own followers on LinkedIn, if you have own followers on some other platform, excellent, but that should add value. That activity or that business or anything that you're doing should be something that is useful when you're explaining about yourself in the interview. Okay, so be very precise, be very very clear about what you have done, be very clear about what you are as a person, be very confident about that, and explain how you will bring and add value to their company when that he or she hires you in that company. What is it that they should hire you for? Okay, so answer it, write down your answers before even you go for interview. Prepare the I mean the discussion that we are having right now, write it down on a piece of paper, write down those questions, write down your answers, so that these answers will help you during the interview, so that you need not think during the interview, and you will remember, oh yes, I had written this down, this point was already there in my book, this point was already there in my diary. So those points, it will automatically come, from your memory. So write them down in your diary paper, in your book, with a paper, with a pencil, write it down, so you will remember those answers. Okay, so I hope that I answered your that question. Dr. Mansi, any other question?
Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir. There is one more question from Ms. Mrunmay Rane. This is question related to like subsequent to the Shreyas question. Like if you have written down everything, you have done everything, but by somehow you become a blank during the interview. Like you totally go blank. So how to handle that kind of situation?
Yes, yes, it's absolutely fine. See, there are chances that you might go blank. It's absolutely fine, and also during exams it happens, during a competition, or let's say during also, if you have a fear of public speaking, if you have fear of that. See, to overcome that, I would suggest do mock interviews. Okay, so I believe the name, Dr. Mansi, the name was Mrunmai, right? What was the name of the person who
Yeah,
asked this question?
Mrunmay.
Yeah, so Mrunmai, what you can do is, Mrunmai, you can speak to your friends, and we can have a mock interview, and it's going to be free of charge. Okay, I'm not going to charge you. Okay, you can call me, I can ask you all the questions, we can have 15 minutes, or if I'm free, I can do it, we can do it for a 30 minutes kind of an interview. We can do a proper mock interview, as in I'll be asking you questions, and it can be like a varied kind of an interview. It can be a stress interview, it can be a case study kind of an interview, or it can be a personal interview. Okay, we can do that. So do a mock interview with your friends, mock interview with your colleagues, from your classmates, do a mock interview with your seniors, do your mock interview with your professors, your teachers. Ask them for some time, for 10 minutes, 15 minutes. Speak to your placement coordinators, speak to anybody outside your domain, outside your industry, your friends from commerce, from arts, from science, from any other domain. Ask them. Okay, your friends will definitely be willing to do that. Do a mock interview. Okay, do as many mock interviews as possible, so that the nervousness goes away and you do not go blank during the real time interview. Okay, do mock interviews. If you are still not confident, feel free to call me anytime during the weekdays after 8 p.m., or on the weekends, after 10 a.m. I'm definitely free, and I'll be happy to help you, guide you, and do some mock interviews. We can do a proper, like a telephonic interview, or you want to do it like a video call, we can also have a WhatsApp video call, and I'll ask you questions and you can answer them. You can write down all the tips and tricks, and we can get ready for the real interview. Okay, so the solution for going blank, as in, I can't guarantee that you won't go blank at all, or somebody will go blank at all, but the funda, or the mantra, or the trick behind this is, do as many mock interviews as possible with anybody who is like close to you, your best friends, your close friends, your relatives, be it your parents, your siblings, if you have a brother or a sister, be it your cousins. Ask them to ask you questions. It can be any type of questions. It can be questions about yourself, it can be questions about why should they hire you, it can be questions about what ideas you bring to the table, what are the challenges that you have faced, it can be about what is the experience that you have, what all competitions that you have participated in, it can be about what skills that you bring to the table. So the mock interview can be in any format. Okay, so do as many mock interviews that you can, so that you won't go blank during the interview. Okay, I hope, Pranmay, I answered your question.
Yes, that was very much insightful. We can move forward.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Dr. Mansi. Yes. Now, and the last part is about the email etiquettes. Okay. The email. So now that you have already, let's say, cracked the interview, okay, now you already know about the communication skills. Now, during the
पंद्रह
email etiquette, let's say you're sending an email to the
पेमेंट
HR
आ गया
manager, you're sending an email to the company's person, you're sending an email, let's say to
थक
your
जाना है
friend or your colleague or your relative,
मैं
or let's say
15
you're
मिनट में
spending an
रेडी
email
होता
to me, to Ninad
है
Chatam,
मेरे लिए
saying
भी
that, sir,
अच्छा है
yeah,
ये
I
डेली
want you to
प्रेफर
review
करना
my CV. Okay. Now, what you need to
बच्चों को
understand and
प्रिपरेशन के लिए
remember when you are sending out an CV via Gmail out or Hotmail, Yahoo, or Outlook. Okay. First and foremost, most important point is the subject line. So, sorry. So be very, 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 very careful when you are drafting your email. Your subject line should be very clear, very crisp. Subject line should say, Mrunmay is sending the CV or Shreyas is sending the CV to me. It should say Shreyas, Shreya, it's Shreyas, then you say CV attached, and you say the position that you are applying for, application for this particular position. So the subject line is very important. Then you say, if you want me to for if Shreyas or Mrunmay wants me, Nina Thadam, to review the CV, you say that Shreyas CV review required, okay, or request for review. So the subject line of that particular email should be very, very professional, okay. That is very important. Second point, remember to have the right email ID. Correct email ID is very important, because when you are sending emails from Gmail, Outlook, and Yahoo, there might be case where you won't be able to recall that email. If you send it to a wrong person, to a wrong email ID, your CV will get bounced. Okay, the CV might not reach the right person. The CV might not reach the company. The CV might not reach the person to whom you intended to send a CV. Remember, so the email ID of the person to whom you plan to send your CV is very, 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 very extremely important. Okay. Content is very important. You need to start your email by saying, hello, sir, hello, madam, dear sir, dear madam. Then your content that I found while browsing through this particular job portal, or while browsing through LinkedIn, or while browsing through something, I came across this particular position. I found that the job description matches the knowledge, education, and skills that I have. Hence, I am interested in applying for this position. Please find attached my CV for this particular role, and am looking forward, to hearing from you for this. If it would be great if you can consider my CV for this particular role, and if you could have a look at my CV and consider me for an interview. So the content of your email when you're applying for a job is also very important and very critical. Okay. Remember to end your email with an action required. As I already mentioned, you should mention in the end of your email that I am looking forward to hearing from you. It would be great if you can consider my CV for this particular role. So an action that is intended for the reader of that email is very, very important. Okay. So remember that your email should end with an action. Otherwise, if you don't put an action, the receiver of that email will not know what you want them to do. If you, Shreyas or Mrunmay, say something to your email and the content says, please sir, please find attached my CV, and you say, thank you sir, Mrunmay and Shreyas, I will not know what action I want to do or what action I need to take when I receive your CV. So you need to be very clear when you are writing your email. Mention the action required in a very professional and polite manner. Do not order, okay? It should sound like a request. Do not say, open this email, open the attachment. It would be great if you can open the attachment. It would be great to, if you can have a look at my CV. It should sound like a request. Okay, that is very, very important. In the end, thank the receiver. So thank you for your time. Thank you for your time for the interview. Thank you for your time, precious time, for reviewing my CV. So remember that these 5 points are very, very important. And last but not the least, before hitting the send button professionally for a professional email, when you're sending out an email for reading, getting your CV shortlisted for an interview, read your email twice, thrice. There can be grammatical errors. There might be grammatical mistakes. There is an option in Outlook, Gmail, and Yahoo for review. There is an option for spelling check. There is an option for correcting your grammar. correct your grammar in the email. Do not use past tense, present tense if it's not required. Write your email in present tense and your action required in future tense. As in, I'm looking forward for something. Content should be in the present tense, or content should be in past and present. Past in the sense, I went through something and I saw something. I am interested in that position, and hence I want you to consider. So that becomes past and present, and action required is in the future tense. Okay, so read your email again before hitting the send button, because you will not be able to recall your email. If you send the wrong email, remember your chances and probability of getting shortlisted for the interview reduces to zero. The person will, the first, your email will go to the junk mail of the sender, the junk email of Outlook, the junk email of Yahoo or Gmail. And if even if the person opens that email, he or she will delete it because the grammar was not correct. So ensure that your grammar is correct before you hit the send button. Okay. So I'll pause here. And any questions on how you write an email? And Dr. Mansi, anything on the chat box?
No, nothing on a chat box. Students, do you have any question?
Sir, I just wanted to add one point here for the
Mhm.
email etiquettes. We should always be ensuring that the content of email is crisp and clear, so that interviewer is not just reading and reading. We are not writing any essay over there. So we have to just make sure this is for other students. So
Yes, yes, yes.
we have to be just ensuring that content
Absolutely agree. I completely agree with you. Your content of the email should be very precise, very concise. It should be one liner email, two liner, or max to max three liner. Do not write paragraphs. Okay. If you want to write a paragraph, create a cover letter, draft a cover letter. Cover letter can have 2 to 3 paragraphs, but your email should not have 3 paragraphs. The HR does not have time. Remember that. HR is a human being. HR is not a computer. HR does not have a run on algorithm. HR runs on emotions. HR runs on feelings. HR doesn't have time. So HR will open your email just for a fraction of a second, for like 1 second, 5 seconds, 10 seconds, 30 seconds. If the content is not clear, if the action required is not clear, HR is going to delete that email. Okay, so be very clear in the content. So yes, thank you so much for highlighting that point. Yeah. Now that, let's say, you have already applied for your job, you completed your CV, you sent your CV, you got the job, you cracked the interview, you joined the company. Now what is important when you're joining the company, and this is my last slide before we close for today, and then we can have our lunch. So the joining formalities, let's say once you have got your job, the first and foremost thing is your ID card. Ensure that you have your ID card, otherwise you will not be able to enter the office premises. So generally the HR sorry, or the admin person will help you with generating your ID card. They will provide you with a strap. It can be the strap which you need to wear in your shoulder, as on your on your neck, or the holder, isn't it? You can use it, with your belt for men, or you can, for women it can just put it if you're wearing your salwar kameez, so something like that. The holder can be there. Laptop and charger is very important, because without a laptop or without a desktop, you won't be able to do your job. Ensure that before you join the company, you have your laptop and desktop ready with you, because if you go in the office on a day one and if you don't have your laptop, that's another issue. They will give you a backpack, obviously, because the laptop will be there and you'll have to carry the laptop every day to the office, so that's very important. If they give you a mobile phone, well and good. If they don't, I mean, just ensure that you get the reimbursement for the phone calls that you make using your personal mobile. So try and ensure that you speak to your HR person, you speak to your hiring manager, and you get the mobile bill reimbursed on a monthly basis. Okay, so that's very important. Second is the salary account. Ensure that when you're joining a company, they open your salary account, be it a government office, be it a government bank like SBI or Canara Bank, or some other bank, or it can be ICICI, HDFC, or Axis, or Yes Bank, or any other bank for that matter. That salary account is very important. Now, let's say for the first time when you're joining, they will open your employee provident fund account, and if you're then shifting your companies, then you'll have to do an employee provident fund transfer. Okay, so there is a website, EPFO, Employee Provident Fund Organization, and there is a website where the company will start your Employee Provident Fund account. Now, this Employee Provident Fund is basically, if the company is more than 20 employees, then yes, they are required to create an Employee Provident Fund. For example, they will put some money from their pocket in the Employee Provident Fund, your Employee Provident Fund account, and they will also cut some salary, some money from your CTC, and they will put that money in your EPF account. Okay. Then another important point is about leaves. They will give you EL or PL. EL is earn leaves, PL is privilege leaves. This can be in the range of 10 leaves, 20 leaves, or 30 leaves per year. These are paid leaves. Okay. They will not deduct your salary for these leaves. If you go over and above this, then yes, then your salary will be deducted. Then there is sick leave. Sick leave can be for 5 days, for 10 days, for a year. It's given on an annual basis. They will also give you casual leaves. This can be also in the range of 5 days, 8 days, or 10 days per annum per year. Okay. So leaves. I mean, go and speak to the HR person will also do your induction, and they will tell you everything about your leaves as well. Okay. Then there's something called as LTA, leave travel allowance. If they provide you with a leave travel allowance, well and good. If you're traveling via a flight, ensure that you keep your boarding pass so that you get that LTA, the amount that is there in your CTC, reimbursed by the company. Okay. So if you're traveling by a flight, keep your boarding pass. Do not discard your boarding pass. Okay. Then the most important point is about appraisal, increment cycle, and salary hike. Okay. So every year, the financial year can be for the company from Jan to December, or the financial year can be from April to March. Okay. Or it can be from June to July, or subsequently for year on year basis. Ensure that your appraisal discussions are done with your bosses and your line managers, and understand the increment cycle, whether it's from Jan to December, because your performance should be to the point in that particular increment cycle, and whether you're joining in that particular increment cycle. So that is also very important. Salary hike can be depends upon how the industry is performing, how your company is performing, how your department is performing, how your manager is evaluating your performance. Based on that, you will get a salary hike in the range of 5%, 10%, 20%, 30%. So you will get a salary hike on a year on year basis. Okay. You might also get more frequently, depends upon your company's HR policies. Then the most important point is about promotion and growth. Okay, this is a very important point. Whichever company you join, whichever organization you join, promotion and growth is very important, because that ensures that you are learning, you're getting more challenges, and you are also progressing in your career. You are getting paid more, because as you grow, you will have multiple more. You will have senior positions, and you will also get paid more as you go in the senior position. So promotion is and growth is also very important. So when you're applying for companies, check whether the company is a stable company, and the company has projects in the pipeline, so that they can give you promotions and growth in the future. Next is annual performance and bonus. Okay, once you've joined the company, your company and your manager, your line manager, your boss will tell you about performance bonus, incentives, and goals. These are assigned to you at the beginning of the year, saying that if you achieve these goals, company will provide you with a performance bonus and incentives. Okay. If you achieve the goals, then you might get incentives in terms of monetary incentives, or you might get into something about some certificates or appreciation, or they might also sponsor you for some exams or some certificate course. Okay. Or you might be also be eligible for performance bonus, as in, for example, you will get some monetary benefit in, like, for example, 1 month's basic salary at the completion of 1 year, depending upon the performance. If your performance is over and above, you are an overachiever, you will get a bonus of around 100% or 120%. If you're an average person, average performer, you will get 100 or less than that. If you did not achieve at all, you will get a performance bonus. Either you will get a performance bonus, or you will not get a performance bonus at all. Okay, so remember that point. Next is investment declaration. So when you start working for a company, you will have to invest 1 lakh 50 rupees in either your personal provident fund, PPF. You can put that money in insurance. You can put that money in mediclaim. You can put that money in a form of any sections which have tax deductions. You can put that money 50,000 in NPS, National Pension Scheme. So that investment declaration you will have to give to your HR. Okay, when you join the company, remember that 1,50,000 is your savings that you invest, and 50,000 can be your NPS. Total will be 2 lakhs, which will be deducted from your salary as a investment exemption. Okay, at the end of the year, at the end of the financial year, you will have to submit a proof of these investments, whether you have investment in 1.5 lakhs in provident funds. If you have invested 50 lakh rupee or 50,000 rupees in NPS, you will have to give the investment proofs. You will have to scan the passbooks. You will have to print the receipts, or you'll have to scan the receipts, the NPS receipts. If you're using some other form like investment in mediclaim, investment in some other form, education loan, housing loan, HRA, there will be a lot of other investments as well. You'll have to give the investment proofs for that. Okay, that is also very important. When you join, they will assign you a desk and they will give you stationery. So desk is very important. Remember, if there is company policy of hot desking, hot desking means everybody does not come to the office on every day, and the desks are kept empty. Okay, whenever you go to the office, the HR will assign you a desk, and that is called hot desking. Okay, and they will also give you some stationery like pen, pencil, water bottle, and something else, as in like headphones that I'm wearing right now. These can be Jabra headphones, or these can be some Logitech headphones. You'll get for talking to people on calls. Okay, so you'll get the stationery, and you will get your IT devices. That's very important. Then the next part is Wi-Fi reimbursement. If you're working from home, you'll have to get your Wi-Fi reimbursed. If they're providing you with a modem or router, then if they're providing you with a Geo fiber optic cable, if they're providing you with an Airtel router, if they're providing you with a Vodafone router or a modem or something like that, ensure that you get it reimbursed, because if you're working from home, that money should be paid by the company. If you're traveling to the office using your motorcycle, if you're taking your car, if you're taking your carpooling, and try and see whether your HR can give the reimbursement for your petrol and parking. If there is a parking available in the office for free of cost, then well and good. If not, then check whether there is a pay and park close to the office, and try and ensure that your HR pays for the reimbursement for the parking. If you are going to the office early and you want to have breakfast, lunch, and dinner, if you're staying late in the office, if you want to have dinner, check with your HR and your admin team whether they will be giving it for free, or whether it's at a very subsidized rate, or whether you need to purchase some coupons, or whether you need to swipe your ID card. Okay, so there are companies which give lunch for free, and there are companies which will charge you for your lunch. So taking your lunch box is also fine. If you want to eat in the office cafeteria, that's absolutely fine as well. Lastly, if you're rented a place in Mumbai, if you're not from Mumbai, if you're staying in Mumbai, you're renting the place, have your agreement ready, and you can also claim the HRA. You can claim as in share the agreement scan copy. You can share the rent invoices that you pay on a monthly basis, and you can get a reimbursement for that from your CTC. And the company will also give you a medical insurance, group insurance, and accidental insurance. And there can be an annual checkup done by the company as well, free of cost, or they will ask you to go to your nearest pathology clinic to do an annual checkup, and they will pay for that particular amount. Okay. So I'll again pause at on this particular slide. And any questions on joining formalities? Anything, Dr. Mansi, from the
None
chat
from the chat
box?
box. Anyone has a question? I don't think so.
Okay, fantastic. Then I'll quickly move to the next slide. Okay, so with that, we end the presentation, but I'll quickly give you some quick tips from my past experience. So be a specialist. I mean, I understand that we all want to do everything, but be a specialist as in be in one single particular domain. If you're in pharma, you ensure that you working with the pharma companies. You don't suddenly shift to a different consulting company, then you move to a finance company, then you move to a marketing company, then you go to some creative side. So don't do that. That will make that you are not very sure about the domain that you're working for. Okay, so become a specialist. So that is very important. Okay, that point is important. The position of a coach and a mentor is, see, Rahul Dravid, they are a coach. Why they are a coach? Because they have already played cricket. Somebody who has already worked in the maritime industry can be a good coach for you. But a mentor is somebody who has, a coach will give you solutions. Okay, a mentor would be somebody who's outside the maritime industry, who's not from the maritime domain. He or she can be a mentor. So get a mentor, because that mentor will give you different options. Isn't different options in career, different options in working, in different how to there are, if you face any personal problems, if you face any personal professional problems, if you face any social problems, the mentor would be somebody who will be definitely be there to guide you. Okay, so get a coach. Coach is somebody who is already working in the maritime industry. A mentor is somebody who is not working in the maritime industry and can give you different options. Okay, so that is also very important. Remember the three aces: acceptance, affirmation, and aspiration. Okay, acceptance is accept yourself, accept the skills that you have. Affirmation is do a positive self talk. Remember that you are, you can do it if you believe in yourself. So that affirmation is very important. Aspiration is very important. Aspire for bigger roles. challenging roles, aspire for something that you can, make an impact on the company, make an impact on the community, make an impact on the society, make an impact on your colleagues, your college, your institute. So aspire for that. So remember these three S's. Then remember EDSO. What I mean by EDSO is our brains release four major and good hormones, which are endorphins. EDSO, E stands for endorphins. When you exercise, when you hit a gym, when you run, when you cycle, endorphins are released in your brain. Okay, those are good hormones. So try and build as many good hormones in your body. So when you exercise, those good hormones are released. Dopamine, when you achieve something, when you check mark, when you tick mark something in your notebook, when you purchase something on Nika, Amazon, Flipkart, Mintra, or Tata Click, let's say you buy something, dopamine gets released. That's why you get that high. You feel good. But you feel good at a temporary level. Okay, so that's the dopamine that's getting released. Serotonin. Okay, that's very important for good sleep. When you help others, when you help somebody, help your friends, your colleagues, your relatives to solve some problems, that serotonin is getting released in your brain. That's a very good hormone. Oxytocin, when you bond with your friends, when you go out with your friends, when you go out with your best friends, when you're socializing, you're meeting your cousins, you're meeting your batchmates, you're meeting your classmates, oxytocin is getting released in your brain. Okay, so remember to always build on these good hormones. The EDSO is what the short form is, what I'll ask you to remember. And the bad hormones are cortisol. Okay, if you stress about the current situation that you're in, if you're not able to crack the interview, that's absolutely fine. There are multiple other companies, multiple other organizations where you can apply again. Okay, do not stress yourself. The situation that you are in will definitely pass, and the circumstance that you are in will definitely pass. You will definitely get a good job, you will definitely get good opportunities, you'll definitely get a good pay in the future. So do not stress about your current situation. Okay, adrenaline is a runner's high, as in when you run for a long time, you will heart rate increases, you get an adrenaline release. But remember that the running is also should be very limited. Your adrenaline release should not be very high, because that's also not very good for your body. So these are the good hormones and these are the bad hormones. Then coming to the next point, some small an excerpt from Bhagavad Gita. Remember that ADME, which stands for ADME in pharma, stands for absorption, distribution, metabolism, and excretion. That's when by Bhagavad Gita is approach or basis. Once you have an approach where you want to apply, which domain you want to work, you are the doer. As in, you should have your own knowledge, attitude, and skills. You have the means. As in, for example, you still have you have the roti kapda makan. You still have the means. You still have the resources. You still have the job portals to apply. You have your friends. You have your teachers. You have your placement coordinators. They are helping you. You have the resources. Those are the means. Once you put those efforts, once you put your hard work in, remember there will always be that divine hand to push you in the right direction, will help you to solve all your problems. Okay, so remember that, work on yourself and you will definitely succeed. Okay, the two books that I want all you read, how you need to worry about money, how you need to how money is made, and how you need not worry about money, how you need not fear about money. Okay, money. So remember to read this particular book. And I also want you to read the book Magic of Thinking Big, because this book will ensure that you are always going in that. It will help you to think big, isn't the if you think small, think small things will happen in your life. But if you think big, definitely good things will happen in your life. You'll get better opportunities, good opportunities in good cities, in good countries, and you will definitely be succeed in your career. So all you want is to read these two books. Okay, and then the last slide for today is the key takeaways from today's session. I believe, thank you so much all for your patience. The key takeaways from today's session is, what are your key strengths? Are you good at communication? Are you good at presentation? Are you good at finance? Are you good at budgeting? What are your weaknesses that you're still not good at presentation? You're still not good with finance. That those are your weaknesses. What are your opportunities? If based on your strengths, you can look for those opportunities where you can apply based on your strengths. Threats are something are external. There can be external situations that COVID impacted your industry, or something else industry impacted your industry. Okay, threats are not your peers. Your peers are not your threats. Your batchmates are not your threats. Your classmates are not your threats. Your alumni are not your threat. You are your own threat. If you don't learn, okay, you won't be able to earn. Okay, so remember, earning itself is a part of the word learning. Okay, you remove the word let alphabet L, and what remains is earning. If you stop learning, you will not be able to earn. Okay, so remember that. That's your biggest threat. understand the job requirement, understand your industry, understand your job requirement. That is when you will be able to crack the interview. Be confident about who you are. Okay, so that's very important. If you are confident, if you believe in yourself, everybody will believe you, the interviewers will believe you. But if you are not confident, the interviewers will not believe you. Okay, then help. The last point, but the most important point, is help others to solve their problems. What this will help you, this will help you is, when you see somebody is facing some problem, your mind starts thinking in a solution approach, in a result oriented approach, and you start looking at the problem from their problems, from your angle, from your expertise, and from your experience, from your perspective. And that will also help you to solve your own problems. So if you're facing a problem, write it down on a piece of paper, discuss it with somebody, and also help somebody to solve their problems. Okay, so with that, I will stop here, and thank you all for listening patiently for the last 2 hours. I think we have taken a lot of your time on a Sunday, and I am between you and your lunch time. But yes, thank you all for listening, and I'll also pause here. And Dr. Mansi, if there are any more questions, I'll be happy to take it. If
Yeah.
not, then we can definitely close the session.
Yeah. Does anyone has any question? There is no question in the chat box. Yeah. Shrey, please, please be brief in your question. Please go ahead and ask your question.
Yes, ma'am. Good afternoon, ma'am. Good afternoon, sir. I actually wanted to ask about, the salary requirements. When they ask you about the salary requirements, I do really feel, a little bit confused, just because I do not know. As a fresher, I do not know what salary do they offer. And if if I speak about the salary, or if, demand about it, so it feels, quite inappropriate. So I do not have any idea about, salary that is going to be, provided to me. So how to answer that question? Because recently I have, received a call, and they asked about the salary requirements, and I do not have any idea about, freshers and that stuff. So I got really confused. So how to answer that questions?
Yes, if you can just quickly quote your name. I didn't get your name.
Sir, my name is Shreya.
Okay, hi Shreya. Thank you, Shreya, for the question. So yes, I completely agree that as a fresher, we do not know what the salary range would be for the position that we are applying for. So the solution for this problem is, first you'll have to understand and definitely do some homework, and do some research, and ask your friends who are already working in that particular industry, that particular company, or let's say in a competitor's company, and on the and at the same particular role, or if they've already worked in that particular role, you'll have to try and understand if what are the company standards, what is the industry standards. Is the company or the industry standards is going starting with some 2 lakhs or 3 lakhs or 5 lakhs as a starting salary, then yes, I would definitely recommend, if you do some research and if you get to know about it. See, you can also find some salary ranges on naukri.com. You can find salary ranges on LinkedIn. You can find some salary ranges somewhere. You can definitely do some digging on that. And once you get an idea about what are the starting salary ranges for freshers, and you know that the fresher can get a salary between the range of 3 lakhs to 5 lakhs, or 5 lakhs to 10 lakhs, depending upon which industry you are working, then do your own research, be ready with that amount, and be very flexible and very open to negotiation. Okay, so you can quote your amount when you are convinced that you had a very good interview. You are convinced that you have definitely given a good interview where they will definitely shortlist you, and you will definitely get an offer. And once you get that offer, and they say that okay, now let me know your expectations, you can definitely quote your amount. Okay, it's absolutely fine to quote an amount on the higher side. You can quote, let's say, 3 lakhs or 5 lakhs, depending upon the requirement. And then if they say they want to negotiate, think and then negotiate in the terms of what they are sharing and they are quoting from their side. Okay, if you start with 5 lakhs and then they directly say no, 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 we can give only 3 lakhs, try and find a middle ground and close it on 4 lakhs. But if they say no, no, Shreya, we cannot go till 4 lakhs, we will have to stay at 3 lakhs, then it is your decision to to think with what is the risk that you're taking. The risk can be, since you're starting at a lower salary, at a lower grade, or at a lower level, the time that you will take to go to the next hike of, let's say, 5 lakhs or 10 lakhs or 15 lakhs, it might take 1 or 2 more years, which is still fine. So if you are still willing to take that risk, do it, go ahead, because getting an experience working with a company, getting that name of the company and that work that you have done is important on your CV. Okay, without a job, without a company, without any money, it's 3 lakhs is still fine rather than having zero on your CV, right? So even
Yes.
if you started with 3 lakhs, you can still work in the company for 6 months, 1 year, or 3 years, and then you can tell them that since you have already got an experience of 6 months, 1 year, or 2 years, now you are expecting a salary hike of 30% or 40%, depending upon the kind of industry that you are working with. Okay, if the
Yes.
company or the industry allows you to have an hike of 30-40%, then you can definitely get an hike of 30-40% on that 3 lakhs or 5 lakhs that you were earning from your first job or your first salary. Okay, so I would recommend quote a higher number. It's absolutely fine. If the HR or the line manager is not willing to negotiate and if they want to come down, take a risk, a calculated risk on the career prospects you have in that company, the kind of boss that you will be working with. You see, because your boss is going to decide on your career. Okay, so that is very important. Okay, so to look for the company stability, look for the role, whether there is growth in the role, career prospects क्या है, promotions मिलेंगे कि नहीं,
मेरा भी पता
boss
चला
supportive है कि नहीं, he or she is going
जो
to be,
निकाल को
see, you are going to report to a person who is going to talk to you on a day to day basis. If that person is going to make your life miserable, you will feel very sad, you will be very disappointed, you will be very frustrated, and you will take out that frustration on your family, your friends, and your colleagues or your best friends. Okay, so
Yes.
ensure that you get yourself hired in the right company, right role, with the right boss. See,
मक्खन
you
में ये
can
करना था
choose the kind of company
क्यों
that you
नहीं है
want, the kind of role that you want, but you won't be able to choose the boss. See, we cannot control how your boss is going to behave, right? All
Yes.
that we can know is when you are speaking to your boss in an interview. See, the line manager will definitely interview. Let's say Ninad Satam is your line manager, and now you have Shreya has interacted with Ninad Satam for the last 1 hour. From last 1 hour, you will be able to judge me, right? Whether I am supportive, whether I am flexible, whether I have empathy, whether I'll be allowing you to take up more challenges, whether I'll allow you to grow in your career, whether I'll allow you to get promoted in the company. You will be able to take some judgments, right, after speaking to Nina Chatham for 1 hour, correct?
Right.
So based on that kind of judgment for 1 hour that you speak to during the interview, you will also need to judge the company, you will need to judge the role, you will also need to make a judgment whether I will be happy to work with this person, because he or she will make your life, or will make your life miserable. There are two options that you will need to decide. So money in the beginning is absolutely fine, even it's on a lower level. The grades are also low, which I agree, which is fine, because once you enter the industry, once you get good names on your CV, trust me, you will definitely get good offers in the future. So since you all are like still in your 20s, like 20 to between 20 to 25, I would recommend that definitely go ahead for any job that you get, any company that you get that experience, get it on your CV, start working, start earning, earn that money, save that money, get it invested, and trust me, after you spend 5 years in the industry, you will automatically understand how the industry works, how the company works, how your bosses work, how you need to communicate with them, how to talk to them, how to write emails. You guys will become an expert. Don't worry about that. After 5 years, you will become 2 to 5 years, you will become an expert, and you will be able to command more salary and ask for more salary. Okay, so go ahead with whatever you get, no issues with that, but get that experience, get that job. Do not sit home, because sitting idle will not help you, and your mind will start rusting. So it's better to work on something, get those challenges, and get that experience on your CV. Okay.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Thank
Thank you so much for.
thank you, Shreya. Any other questions?
any other questions I don't think so yeah it's almost a lunchtime yeah
Okay, great.
yeah
So thank you so much, Dr. Mansi. What I'll do is I'll also share the presentation post the meeting, and it was great talking to you all. And okay, let me quickly share my contact details.
yeah
I didn't
please
share
do
that.
that
Sorry. Let me share my screen. So these are my contact details. If you feel, if you are still have that anxiousness, if you feel to talk to somebody, feel free to call me. Feel free to send me your CV. If you want me to have a look at your CV, feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn. Feel free to follow me. Feel free to, want to have a mock interview. Please call me. We can definitely have a chat, good chat. But before even calling me, you can send out a WhatsApp message, and I'll definitely respond to that saying that I'm free at that so and so time, and that is the time when we can definitely speak. Okay.
Thank you so much, Mr. Ninath, for sharing your contact details with our students. I know you are very much busy, but you are allowing our students to contact you and your free time. This really means a lot to us. And we will like to keep you in touch, like be a mentor for a professional training for our students in the coming year. I'll just tell you that CMAS
Mhm.
is starting from this year. So, a first induction batch, pioneer batch of the CMAS this year. So we will. I would like to raise a vote of thanks on behalf of the Center of Excellence in Maritime Studies for enriching our students with different aspects of the job interview, how to write a CV, how to do the job search, how to do, especially how to do the interview. What are the techniques in the interview that would might help in the upcoming Viva also. They have to face the Viva from the industry. Uh, like senior most people in the maritime industry, we are calling scientists, we are calling from navy person, so they will get much more confidence, they will get mock trial during that viva, that how to prepare for the interview. And thank you for telling them how to write the email, that will also help them for searching for internship or searching for the small contractual work, or some if they want to do some research work during their dissertation time, even writing an email ethic will help them out. And one last thing which you have taught them about the joining formalities, because they are students, none of them know about the what are the corporate world, how what are the scenario in the corporate world, what are the culture in the corporate world, what will they expect when they're joining for the first day. So teaching them, giving them like what not the teaching, the uh, showing them the scenario about the first day, that would help them a lot, what they know that what they are expecting in their first day of the job. Thank you so much, Nirath, for showing all of this thing to our students. On of behalf of CMS, I would once again like to thank you to give your precious time to teach our students about all this thing. Thank you so much.
Great. Thank you so much, Dr. Mansi, and thank you all for listening for the last 1.5 hours. Thank you so much for giving your precious time for on a Sunday. And feel free to call me, and I would definitely be glad to review a CV, or we can definitely do some mock interviews before you go for your main interview. Thank you so much, and have a great day, and have a wonderful week ahead.
Thank you.
Thank you all. Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye bye. I'll just end
Bye bye.
this meeting.
Thank you so much,
Thank
sir.
you. Bye bye.
Thank you, sir.